And I want to go to the first look. Alrighty, chat. Some surge foils have been kind of cheap. Really, are they like straight up cheaper than like some of the I mean, we've seen cheaper surge foils or like whatever special ones be cheaper than regular foils. I'm not exactly sure how that works. I know it's more like a market thing where it's just like, hey, more people are like willing to pick this up or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why. All I know is that I tend to be able to get the full art foils at a cheaper price. I mean, just like 2 weeks after the set releases. If you're just simply busy between the 2 weeks the set releases, you're not clamoring or getting FOMO from missing out on everything being $300. All right, I'm gonna get a little bit of food. I just have a plate of food, and Am I even gonna warm it up? Probably. I know. Actually, I'm gonna have it cold because I'm super warm. Not cheaper than regular, just cheap for the scarcity. Is it is it the scarcity that's keeping the price down? Thought that would make it more expensive, but all right, chat. I'll be right back. Okay, I'll be right back. We're gonna dive right back into this in a second. Let me get some water too while we do that. Yeah. All right. All right, almost back, chat. Okay. Alrighty. We fun trip home. Hey, Cosmic Seed. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it was a fun trip home. I didn't necessarily. Oh no, I think there were babies. There were yeah. There actually every flight because it was 2 flights there, 2 flights back, and each time there was crying baby. Not that that's like I'm not blaming a child for crying. I'm just saying like that was my experience. Like, oh hey yeah, that was my ride back, crying baby. Um which is whatever. I'm not mad about crying babies. I'm able to sleep on flights. I have the superpower, it seems, of being able to sleep on flights. So it's not the biggest deal. It's not the biggest deal. I'll live. Yeah, screaming kids not fun. Yes, it ain't fun, but hey, we out here, right? All right. All right, chat. Now we're here for the meat and potatoes. Thank you very much for listening to my spiel about Vegas. Thank you very much for listening to the spiel on Final Fantasy cards. You just like watch me put a bunch of cards in a cart. But I mean, like, we opened Surge Foil Tifa, right? So it's like, I legitimately think I'll be able to like just trade for. Also, honestly, like, it isn't being able to see the set like this, like, when you really break it down, like, here's all the mythics, right, that have, like, the fancy art. It's not really, like, too many. Like, it actually makes the set a lot more bite-sized than, you know, before, when you can just kind of look and be like, oh, yeah, there's only, like, 33, right? Like, there's only 33 of the cards with, like, the art numbers. And you just kind of quickly scroll by the cards that you just don't really care about, and, you know, it actually was kind of nice. What, there's only 22 mythics. I legitimately only want so many of them. Are there, like, good uncommons? What are the most popular uncommons? Popularity. Diamond weapon, is that the most popular uncommon to get? Like, I guess. I mean, I get, yeah, I mean, I guess so. I guess no one's really buying the uncommons all like that. Yeah, no, the Sids. The Sids should be the most... Well, the Sids are probably always sold out. What are the best commons? Plains. True. True. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, it was actually nice to see this in bite size. What about Through the Ages? Bro, that's a really super. It really is a superpower. You can't sleep on. Yeah, every time someone like asks, like, hey, like, oh, they talk about like how they're gonna be on a plane or that they have a plane left. I'm just like, you know, like, are you able to sleep on planes? If you're not, I am sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you can't. That sucks. Cause I conk the frack out. I conk out. I ain't gonna lie. I sleep good. I sleep good. Okay. There we go. All right, let's go to that screen here. All right, let's change this up a bit. Okay. Hey, Bio, thank you so much for the resub. Appreciate you. Completionist be crying? Probably. I got 2 more collector packs from to open. Hope I got any color bird. Hey, listen, Cosmic, I hope you do. In chat, I hope literally every single one of you opens hard value. Thank you very much for the bits, Bio. Appreciate you. Thank you for the resub and for the bits. I hope that everyone opens a Chocobo and then sells that thing immediately, okay? I pray everyone a very, very happy sell every Chocobo you get while their price is high. Because then you could just get every other card. Now every card's yours. If you simply believe. Yeah, it's hard to... Penguin has got hello. How you doing? Found you sweet. Yay, Cosmic. Welcome to the Twitch side. It's been a while. I'm from the Siege days. Have you tried Siege? Oh, Penguin has got okay. Yes, I have Penguin. Actually, when I went to PAX East a couple last month, I went back to the Siege X booth like multiple times. I have played it, and I do want to play it again. I've seen like multiple streamers return to Rainbow Six Siege playing that mode in particular, and I'm just like, damn, that's kind of sick. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It definitely would take me a while to get back used to everything, but I'm pretty happy with how it looks at the very least. But welcome. It's good to see you again. All right, Cosmic and chat. We're just gonna start going over the. Let's see. What's the everything I want to go over? So the first thing is going to be the announcement panel as a whole. So let me open up YouTube. Make sure you can hear the browser. And what was MagicCon Vegas, because while MagicCon Vegas was doing the preview panel, I was at the Dragon Shield booth doing the event there. So like I legitimately was not able to see any of this. So we're gonna go over these things one at a time. All right, we're gonna watch the preview panel, chat. Ancient Copper Dragon has wonderful art. Ooh, true. All right, Chatterino, here we go. Go live. Back from Vegas. Covering. Quick sec. Alrighty. 100% needed for your Dragon deck. Oh my gosh. Oh god. Dragon decks. Derogatory. No. Absolutely. Well, ancient, and also like most of those dragons have uses outside. Actually, most of those dragons aren't even needed for dragon decks, right? Like, in all honesty, do you really need an ancient copper dragon for an Dragon deck? Dragon already gets like enough mana ramp, and like you just have Miram in it. You already have like enough dragons to blot out the sun. Rolling one to like maybe get, random dice of like 3 treasures off of it. Yours not meant to be competitive. Cool. It's meant to be fun, and that's what we're here for. All right, chat. Let's do the thing. Let me make sure that you can hear it. Also, let me turn off the music. Lamau. Ten treasures on average. Is it on? Is that like technically the average? I say that the average is like, whenever I roll, it's like 2. 10.5? Nah. Whenever I roll, it's 2, and that's the average to me. that's my hero. Average, Damia. All right. Transform. Fit to screen. All right. Bring it down here. Okay. Would you recognize the RPG players? So true. All right, chat. let's do the thing. We're going to go over the MagicCon Las Vegas 2025 panel. This panel happened when I was literally busy doing a thing. So I need to actually go over it because I picked up bits and pieces, but I haven't seen like the full thing as like a whole. So, and feel free to react to it one at a time. I think I'm actually gonna like start go as we talk about different things that pop up. So yeah, 100% feel free when we pause to mention anything. Here we go.
The Manor stage here at MagicCon Las Vegas for the first time this weekend. It is so fantastic to see all of your beautiful, shining, smiling faces ready to get stuck into the preview panel for today. Who's excited to see some new Magic cards? We have a jam-packed schedule of stuff to talk about here in the preview panel today. We are going to be talking about Edge of Eternities mainly, and you're going to be amongst the first in the world to see some of the marquee cards coming out in this Space Fantasy set. Can't wait to show you some of that. We've got all sorts of other stuff to talk about as well, but without further ado, my friends, would you please join me in welcoming to the stage our 4 panelists that'll be coming up here to talk about all this sort of stuff here as part of our preview panel.
Just gonna put it on 1.25.
We've got Sarah and Roy, and they are standing by. They're going to be coming and joining us.
All right. All of these are wonderful people. Just straight up. I love Jadine. Turin. Like, listen. Just remember, anytime you see the art for this set, this person right here, Sarah, is like the one that signed off on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sick. That is the person to thank, to be like, dang, that art went hard. Every spaceship, every planet, every star, all of that. You have Sarah to thank for that. And then as far as the story goes, like I've been I have to go back and fully read episode 2. But I listened to episode 3 today at work, and like I nearly cried. It was so good. Like, I am in love so far with the Edge of Eternity story, and Roy Graham here being the story lead is just knocking it out of the park. The storyline for this set is fantastic. The world building is crazy. So, yeah, thank all of these people here for this.
Up on the stage, here they come. So please put your hands together and welcome our panelists here for the preview panel.
MagicCon Vegas. I'm Mike Turian, executive producer for Magic the Gathering. I get to work as a product lead on so many sets, including Edge of Eternities. Really excited to talk about that today. As well as other sets like the Lord of the Rings, Duskmourn, and so many more.
Also a Magic Hall of Famer as well. He keeps that one quiet. Sarah.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sarah Wassel. I'm a senior art director in the Magic Studio.
Woo!
Collectability team, so we commission art and design cool frames and really just try to like
all the frames too, right? So if you like the like if you like the layouts and stuff for the special cards, right? Like not just the regular Magic card, you know, you got the person there, background, regular for the Magic card. That's like the alternate arts too. That they that this person here, I didn't hear the pronouns, works on as well. Which is, I mean, you know, like that's a job. Like that is not an easy job, and you're confirming art so many years in advance, right? Like, oh god, wonderful job. Nice Duskmourn shirt. Oh, true. Ooh, the Tarkir frames. Yes, the Tarkir frames were sick. By the way, they were really cool.
Put characters in all these situations, yeah, I've got to work with Edge of Eternities on something really special.
Yeah. All right, well, it's great to have our panel assembled up here.
And the main thing to note about Edge of Eternities, right, just like in terms of this story and what he's working with, is the Edge of Eternities is not, it doesn't feel like it's part of the like Omen Path storyline. We don't have we don't have returning characters that we know and recognize in the set at all, right? Like, we know Tezzeret's there, right? We know that, but we haven't, like, every single bit of the story has been people who are only living in the Edge of Eternity's world, and it's not like there's no loot, there's no, you know, Avacyn showing up in space or anything like that. We're not getting your favorite character but in space, right? We're getting like a world of people who live in space, and they have been for hundreds of thousands of years, so they're used to it. And that is what that's what even right there at the end is working with. So it's really like, honestly, I cannot glaze the story enough. The story is so really really good.
Got to work with Edge of
About, well, so much today, not just Edge of Eternities, but we are starting with the
Stand by for Space Balerin, but again, hey, but it'll be like Space Balerin on purpose, you know?
As we open things up with you, talking about its setting.
So
right?
far,
I
so
wonder if you
far.
Could open things up for us here, Roy, by talking about what is, when we talk about the Edge of Eternities, what is the Edge?
Sure. So the Edge is the analogy we've been using that when Mike and I talk about it is as an orange. So the Magic multiverse, as you know it, is the flesh of the orange. The planes are the seeds of the orange, and at its center, that's familiar Magic territory. The Edge is the skin of the orange. It is the farthest thing on the other side of the Blind Eternities, the edge of known creation, and that is where our story takes place and where the set takes place.
So this is somewhat an uncharted region for us in both a story sense, but also in terms of the setting that it is, right? This is a space fantasy set. It obviously takes cues from sci-fi and other world-building aspects that we'd be familiar with from that. So can you tell us a little bit about what that was like, Roy, bringing that to...
Okay, so they're going to talk about bringing it to life. So the multiverse, comparing it to an orange, right? The inside of the orange, you got the seeds, those are the planes, there's just everything inside internally is what we know about the multiverse, right? And then I guess there's a skin, the skin of the orange. So maybe like the seeds are the planes and the actual filler of the orange is like the Blind Eternities or something, right? And then I guess around the Blind Eternities is the Edge of Eternities. That's the edge that they're talking about. So that doesn't mean that there's not more like Blind Eternities beyond that orange, right? Like that, like what's on the other side of an orange, right? Like just the rest of the world. So there's still a chance that there's a beyond the edge of the orange, but as far as like where the Edge of Eternities takes place, if we use this analogy right, you have an orange or some sort of fruit, right? But you have an orange, the seeds are planes, the fleshiness of the orange is the Blind Eternities, and then the outer shell is where the Edge of Eternities takes place, which is pretty freaking big, right? To like encapsulate the multiverse, that's pretty wild. That's huge. So because we were always wondering like where is the Edge of Eternities? Like where could this space set possibly take place? So it's not the Blind Eternities. We don't have spaceships flying around in the Blind Eternities. It's its own extra plane on the outside. It's still a little not clear.
Magic and the challenges involved with that setting being brought to life in this card game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing that I really want to make clear, you know, we're talking about the orange, the orange of the multiverse and all of that. The Edge is more than just another Magic plane, right? It's this is your introduction. This set is going to be your introduction to a whole new setting for Magic. You know, our science fantasy setting, and the Edge itself is vast. You know, it's think like an entire galaxy, a universe even. Though Edge of Eternities, this set in particular, takes place in one recently incorporated corner of the Edge, the Cythera system.
Okay, the camera guy is like, you gotta lock that shit down. The camera's wobbling. Okay, so the Edge, the orange here, the seed poking out of the rind, yeah. So the orange in this situation, the Edge is a universe wide, right? Like it is just like our universe, right? Like we have our own galaxy, we have our solar system, we have our star cluster, we have our galaxy, and then the universe is just like everything else, right? So around the multiverse is this universe-sized thing. So when he's saying like, one, this is our introduction, that means that we will return to the Edge of Eternities. Like, we will return to this setting, which makes sense. I don't think that they were gonna do something in one set where they're just like, by the way, we're in space. Here's all this lore. Here's all this setting and stuff, and then we just blew it up. Like, I don't know, the Nicol Bolas came, snapped his fingers, and now it's all gone, right? Like, there's gonna be more times where we come back to space set, which is exciting to me. I hope it's not like, like in every year we go back to space sort of thing. I hope it's done well. I don't want to see space again for the next, 3-5 years. But it is nice to know that this is like a full-on setting that we can and will return to. So the more we learn about this universe, the better. And that means, just like when we return to Lorwyn, like, every plane in Magic has magic work a certain way, right? Like in Lorwyn, the magic that elves do and weave is different, or at least is harnessed and understood differently than elves on Ravnica or elves on Avishkar, and anywhere else, right? Like, elves are still doing magical green things, but they interpret, they look at it from a different lens, and every single plane, Zendikar, right, especially. So, but because the Edge of Eternities is like one universe, almost no matter where we go, magic should be interpreted the same way, even though it's from the other side of the universe, right? So, like, if on the Edge of Eternities, I don't know, goblins shoot fireballs because that's just what they do, then even on the other side of the universe, goblins should still be shooting fireballs, because it's like, that's just kind of like the universal conception of magic. So I don't know. Time to bridge into D&D property by introducing Spelljammers. I mean, this is the Magic Spelljammer set, right? Right, this is going to be the Galaxy on Orion's Belt type thing. This will be wild. Maybe. Oh my god, yeah, someone used Travis Gafford. We were playing Commander, one of the few Commander games I got to sit down and play, but did not finish. He had, like, some gem thing. Oh my god, no, he literally had from a friend. He had, like, an actual piece of jewelry that was, like, a little glass orb at the end of it that had a galaxy, like a spiral galaxy on the inside, and we all were just like, the galaxy's in Orion's Belt? Like, do you not know what the joke is? He didn't get it. It was funny.
Which is a collection of planets, each one aligned with, like, one of the primary colors of Magic.
So this edge, the rind, is a plane. It makes other planes inherently smaller. I wonder if scale will be plane irrelevant. Really think that's going to be a thing. Well, yeah, this does dwarf every plane that we've ever seen. Because remember, like, technically, every plane is a universe, right? Like, every plane is, it's supposed to be, like, it's more than a planet. But we only spend our time on, like, one planet, right? But, like, every plane is their own galaxy. It's their own sense of reality. Every reality has space in it, right? One way or another. They all do. They just they're not on a technical logical level where they're just going into space on the daily, right? Like, that's just not the time period that we see any Magic plane at. Every Magic plane is, like, just making ornithopters and shit. Or, that's kind of like the baseline standard. Even Kamigawa isn't going into space. And it makes sense that Kamigawa's not going into space because they have the spirit realm right next door. Like, as advanced as Kamigawa gets, because they have a spirit realm, that's more interesting. People aren't really dreaming about going into space because the spirit realm is a whole different reality that they're just vibing with, Most planes, no planes that we've ever seen do space travel because they're just dealing with shit, right? Like, think of literally any plane. They're always in the middle of a war or some interplanar invasion. Innistrah's not traveling to space anytime soon, okay? They're just trying to make the moon move or not, okay? They're not going to space. But Edge of Eternities are, I mean, it's people who are already at the space age. They've been in the space age for longer than not, and that's cool. So now we're gonna have them. So yeah, the scale that they're at is bigger than any plane we've ever seen. Any plane has not been dealing with anything that the people here on Edge of Eternities have been dealing with, but that shouldn't make what happens on Zendikar like any more, like heart wrenching, right? Anything on Innistrad like that much more crazy. Anything on Ravnica, all the death that happened for the War of the Spark. That shouldn't. I hope that doesn't make you feel as though like, oh well, that's just small potatoes because that guy has a spaceship over there that's destroying planets. Like, no, like everything is a tragedy. And remember, each plane is a universe. Each plane is a whole thing of reality. The War of the Spark is like the most devastating thing that happens to an entire reality of people. The Phyrexian invasion is the most emotionally traumatic thing that's happened to arguably like a space even bigger than the Edge of Eternities, or at least reaching more people, physical living beings, than the Edge of Eternity does. That's like a shared trauma for the entire multiverse. That's pretty huge, and that should always matter, even if the Phyrexians gonna invade with a super laser, right? Everything matters on its own scale. We kind of viewed planar travel as space travel, but this forces a reconception. A little bit, yeah. Planar travel, at least they always talked about it being like, you're hopping to a different universe, because like planeswalkers don't crash land on a planet, right? They just like they blip over, and that's just like it. Not belittling, just turtles all the way up. True.
Along with, at its center, the star Cythera, which had been going is vast, our science fantasy setting, and the Edge itself is vast, It's think like an entire
Same seeds.
galaxy, a universe even. Though Edge of Eternities, this set in particular, takes place in one recently incorporated corner of the Edge, the Cythera system, which is a
Cythera system.
Planets, each one aligned with like one of the primary colors of magic, along with at its center the star Cythera, which had been going supernova until the Monoists, who will meet soon with their dark sciences, partially collapsed it into a magical black hole called a super void. So yeah, pretty exciting.
Okay. All right. So we are in the set of Edge of Eternities takes place in a more recently incorporated solar system. Yeah. Solar system, I guess. Yeah, I got. Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to like really. Okay, so there's like more stars though. A new piece of the galaxy, we'll say. Okay, so the set of Edge of Eternities takes place in a newly incorporated section of the universe, but was a galaxy cluster, and called the Cythera system. And in this system, there are at least 5 planets, all of them relating to a color of magic, right? So like a red planet that just a lot of redness, right? Passion, fire, freedom, all of that stuff, right? You have a blue aligned planet, white aligned planet, green, whatever. So, okay, we got like monocolored planets. No, dope, okay. And then the monoists have collapsed the sun, the Cythera star, into a black hole on purpose, it seems. Okay. And now I guess we're dealing with the fallout of that. So here's a new system that lost its sun to this group of people, and here we are. Okay, so that's the Edge of Eternity set.
In that space, in the Edge, in the Cythera system, you'll find all the hallmarks of like a science fantasy story. You'll find planets, of course, spaceships, aliens, cosmic mysteries, space pirates, all of that. And the two great powers that have come to battle over the fate of the system. The Monoists, those black hole worshippers we're going to talk about at some point, and the Solar Knights of the Sunstar Free Company, with heroes and villains and scoundrels somewhere in between, all playing out their own stories underneath it.
So obviously there's a lot.
Okay, two of the three factions: the Monoists, who like black holes, the Free Company, which I think are like those Paladin Knight people, and the like just the in between faction, right? So like you have, it's not like Empire and Rebels, but it's more like a black hole cult and the anti-black hole cult, and then just everyone caught in between. So, which is pretty Magic the Gathering to like not have a like a specific like good guys, objectively evil guys, and like objectively like good guys trying to like live sort of thing. Like not every set is Mirrodin, where there's like obviously like good and bad. This is just kind of, I guess, a difference in beliefs.
A lot going on with this. We've got a vast interstellar-like setting for us to explore here. Mike, I want to bring you in at this point and talk about some of the aspects of the Edge of Eternities in terms of what is both familiar and what is new in Edge of Eternities. What are some of the themes that we're going to see emerge, both new and familiar, with this set?
Yeah, so the Edge is it's a space fantasy setting, right? And we have these mighty interstellar powers that are competing. And
That's pretty as hell. That's beautiful. Like, we already saw Space Whale before. We've already seen Space Angels. Love the like very Dune-esque armor for these like Space Knights and everything. I mean, I will drool and salivate over every single spaceship. That's just it. I'm like every single one of these, especially the Solar Knight people. I mean, damn, this looks sick. Just like, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. I really like symmetrical ships. I don't know what this little ball is, but I need it to get out of here, so it's pure symmetry. But the construction in general is, and I'm about it. I don't even know what's happening here. Just something's blowing up. Are these bad? Are these like enemy ships? Maybe. I like the shield. Shield's up.
and clashing over Sothera, the super void that Roy was talking about. So, and then in terms of the familiar, right? These systems they generate mana and aether, and so lands are something that are going to be a really popular theme and something that we really tap into.
Incoming raid from Unsummoned Skull with 6 raiders.
Hey, Unsummon. Thank you very much for the raid. Thank you very much for the big old spicy raid, my friend. You got Sergey sign your Ugin playmat. Hey, that's sick. Good description. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, let's go back to the recording here. All right, thank you very much for the raid, friend.
We'll explore things that are going to be a really popular theme and something that we.
So hold on.
And we have these mighty interstellar powers that are competing and clashing over Sothera, the super void that Roy was talking about. So, and then in terms of the familiar, right? These systems they generate mana.
Music pop back on.
Aether, and so lands are something that are going to be a really popular theme and something that we really tapped into a lot of.
We'll explore some of the mechanical themes of the set as obviously we begin to show off actual cards themselves. But as we continue our exploration of the creative side of this set, and in particular the way that this new region, this new vast expanse was brought to life, Sarah, I want to ask you about what it was like to bring the Edge of Eternities to life on cards, the challenges that were involved, the high concepts of science fiction, of science fantasy. How was that addressed by you and your team when trying to, again, bring this to life on these cards?
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things about this set is that, because it's such new territory for Magic, so many artists and so many people in our studio were just like...
Woo! Oh, chat. Oh my god, look at that. Okay, hold on. Let's look at this left to right, bro. Wow. Is that even alive? It's dead. This is like a dead giant like planet-eating worm, dude. I mean, we're talking about the scale. We're talking about the scale, bro. Like, it's not coma size, but like arguably. Oh my god. Whew. And that's just a corpse of something. How did this die? How could this thing possibly die? But it did. It ate 2 planets at once. It broke through 2 planets at once. Oh my goodness. And it's like leaking. Alright, that's sick. What is this? Okay, an active space battle is happening. And like just actively happening at the edge. This like chromatic edge of a planet's rings. The debris is falling. It looks like there's an aurora going on. Oh, that's beautiful. Mario Kart Rainbow Road dropped. True. And then this is like a derelict spaceship, basically. I don't know. Is this like the Monolith faction people? The Monoists. And then like whatever spaceship this is supposed to be. I'm trying to find like a unified theme for all the different ships, because like there's 5 different planets, so like probably like 5 different factions or races or whatever. We know that there's like bug people. We know that there's like the solar knights. We know that there's the Monoists and the Kavu and someone else. I guess like a 5th thing. So I'm trying to find like and then like just pirates or scavengers in general. So I'm trying to find like what different faction ships look like. Like this is like I don't know who these people are, but like it's clearly like one faction against whoever else right now. I don't know what that's supposed to be. But this is sick.
We're psyched to work on this. This was like years in development and years in coming, and we were all so excited about it. We had so many artists reaching out saying, "Hey, I've heard that you're doing this. Can I get in on it?" Because our artists that do amazing landscapes and land art, they've never really had the chance to paint things like this. And with this set, scale was a really, really important thing. Like generally in a Magic set, if you have like a giant or a mountain, we do things called scale birds, which are like little guys that like show you like, oh, okay, oh my gosh, this thing is really huge. So in this set, we got to do scale spaceships.
Literally, planet for scale. Look, planet for scale. Forget birds for scale, dude. Literally planets for scale. Or at least moons. Or, well, nope, there's a planet. Here's the ring for scale. Guy's big.
Hey, oh my gosh, this thing is really huge. So in this set, we got
Thank
to
you,
do
Morning
scale
Junior.
spaceships.
Because the slightly larger scale required than what we get away with just birds. Yeah. One of the things as well, I noticed when looking at some of the art and the world building that came out of this is there's also it taps into stuff.
The Vidalkins, yeah. The Vidalkins are... Yeah, the Vidalkins could be here.
That we as an audience are familiar with when it comes to this sort of setting, science fiction, the role that has played in popular media for decades as well. That's something that's been harnessed as well in a lot of the art.
Yeah, that's really true. Like science fantasy, science fiction has this really interesting thing of, it always feels like it's far in our future. And so, but to create those visuals and to make those stories about that, we still have to like germinate that from seeds of what's happening now and things that are familiar, because if it's completely alien, it's really hard for people to emotionally connect to it. Yeah, exactly. So there's always this really fun, like retro future, vintage future that kind of gets combined in it, and it's such a fun space for everybody to play in.
There are some really cool retro-futuristic card styles and treatments we're going to show you as we get to these cards. But still talking about the creative side of it, Roy, I want to come back to you and talk to you about this idea of scale, right? This, again, we've used this word a fair bit already. It's vast. It's a vast set. It's a vast setting. What were some of the things that the story building team, the world building team did to nonetheless make this setting and set personal and make it accessible to us through characters? Or how did you address the issues of scale?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is what I was talking about, where like the Edge itself is a vast setting. It's a whole new, like it's practically a sub world for Magic to tell stories in, a sub genre for us. But this set is pretty focused. It's in one specific star system, and even within that, all sci-fi, no matter how high-minded the ideas is, all great sci-fi is really grounded in the characters that populate it.
Yeah.
And for this story, you're going to meet some really fantastic new characters. I can't wait for people to see them, meet them, read about them, and perhaps one more familiar face as well.
There is one familiar face that I know many people will be very, very excited to see, and we'll be meeting them a little bit later on. But Let's begin to talk about the mechanics of this set, right? We'll move away from the creative side for a little bit.
Okay, so they're about to cover the mechanics. That was just like the narrative portion. So yes, this is sick. I mean, just like hands down, like this is like already awesome. They have three mainline stories out so far, and 2 side stories, right? So like 3 stories about like the main plot, and then 2 side stories about just like people living in the galaxy. I read and listened to 3 of them. They have a well, no, you'll see in the future, but they're really good. I cannot glorify the narrative enough. Quite frankly, new Dominaria level plane, but beyond Dominaria, right? And it will be like Dominaria in the fact that like when we go back, we're in the same world, like you know the same like rules and everything, but we just like happen to be visiting a solar system, right? Just like how original Dominaria is just like, okay, here's Talaria or whatever, and then the next set is just like, oh, here's just another continent, right? Like we just keep going to different continents in original like Magic lore with Dominaria and all that stuff, and then now this will be very similar, but we're just gonna go to a different star cluster. The rules and how they do Magic are all the same, but it's a different star cluster, so you're gonna get different characters, maybe like the same empires or the same groups, but how they do things on a different, just different part of the galaxy. Yeah, I like that. That's gonna be sick. That's gonna be super sick. I'm so excited. Definitely read the narrative if you can. All right, so let's dive over to the mechanics.
Here to talk about some of the ways, Mike, that what we've talked about here were harnessed in order to get this set across from a mechanical standpoint. What were the ways in which these things that we've talked about, the vastness of space, the setting, the way that sci-fi stories are told, how is that reflected in the way that the cards themselves are actually made?
Yeah, so one thing that's so key to the Edge of Eternities is its connection to land, right? So upcoming here, we're going to take a look at the basic lands in the set, right? Oh, yeah, right? Yeah, aren't they?
Whew. Plains. Yep. Looking cool. Islands. Yep. Looking cool. No spaceship specifically, but we see like, I guess, a space station, perhaps. Black. Looking sick. Looking cool. This is like a destroyed plane thing. I think there's gonna be a lot of stuff that informs us, like as he's talking about the lands, right? And there's, remember, 5 different planets. 5 different planets that each kind of represent the 5 different colors of magic. So like looking at this, just looking at white, I see like life, right? I see, clouds and everything. Obviously, like, space and all that. There's rings. Look at that. You see these like these rectangles here. That's industry, right? Like that. Those aren't solar. Those aren't celestial rings of a planet. That is like they made giant ribs in the sky where, I don't know, they're probably space stations or whatever, but like that's what people look up and see. They see constructed, orderly buildings that they've made, right? That is what the White Aligned factions are seeing. Even in the vastness of space, there's life, there's fertile ground, and when you look up into the sky, you see that your planet is living and thriving and in some ways dominating space. That's sick. Then we go over to the islands here. What are we seeing here? We're seeing gas giants, right? Right. We're seeing a lot less of like being on the grounds. Like we don't even see the ground at all. But we are seeing beautiful, absolutely stunning nebulous clouds. Maybe that's some way that the Blue Line faction is harnessing the storms and everything like that. But we're seeing a space station. On all the other arts, we're definitely seeing like ships move and zip throughout. But this is solitary. So maybe whatever this faction is more defensive, more stationary. But they're hidden amongst the clouds. like blue tends to be able to be, flying up in the sky where people can't reach them. And you can hide in clouds. That's where like the subterfuge of blue will come in. So we'll have to see like what the blue aligned faction kind of is, but that's at least my read. It's less about your connection to the physical ground, but just like the elements around you, all of this wind that we're seeing, and your being able to hide and also control your aspect. It reminds me of Esper. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of Esper. Like, really reminds me of Esper. On the swamps here, I mean, this looks like a desecrated wasteland, right? Like, no one's living here. This does not look lived in. So this is probably like that monoist cult thing. And seeing as how they've made the sun turn into a black hole, doesn't really seem like they'll be living in the laps of luxury here. And the way that these engines are moving are kind of different too, right? I don't know if it's like streaking through the air or if it's something, but that looks different. Maybe they'll explain that, but like this looks like desecration, right? This looks desecrated, and that probably has something to do with like their whatever their ideology is. This also looks destroyed, right? Like this looks destructive, but a little bit like less desolate. I don't know. It looks perilous, right? The mountains, like lava, things are floating throughout the sky. Like people could live here, but it probably isn't that fun. But like they could, whereas like over here it doesn't look like anything could survive. This is just very perilous. But we've seen Zendikar before. People can live on floating objects. We already know that. One with the weave, pulled. Yes, it looks maybe. Yeah, it might be being pulled. The stream is in the direction it's going. Ooh, that would be sick. That would be sick. And then over here, green. These ships look like bugs, right? We know that there's a bug faction. And like this looks lived in. This looks like nature is doing its thing. We even see like some water cliffs over here. And yeah, you see two people here too, right? Like you see them together flying throughout clearly giant canopies, right? Like these trees are massive. Look at this spaceship for scale. This tree is massive, right? Like that's crazy. So we can at least infer that the bug people are kind of doing just fine, right? Red people, a little worse for wear. You also see two ships here, so a hint of a little togetherness. But this solitary fighter right here, like literally all alone amongst itself, amongst desolation. The white ship here, it is all alone, but like it's on a living planet that is industrialized in space. And then these guys are also solitary, right? That's at least just what I'm picking up from looking at these lands. I might be wrong, but I feel as though like there's a lot that they communicate through these basic lands, and every set has basic lands that are communicating something. And I like that when we can get like full spreads like this.
So here we have the borderless celestial basic lands, and Mike, lands are a really, really big part of this set.
Yeah. You know, in upcoming, we're going to take a look at ways that we made lands matter, and of course, right? You're in outer space. Outer space lends itself to planets, and you want this sense of discovery,
Exploration.
right? And exploration. And so lands in Magic really let us capture that, right? And you get beautiful landscapes like we're seeing right here.
Yeah, and we can talk more about these in detail with you, Sarah, here, because I want to know what it was like creating cards like these. We've seen full art basics. They've been a hallmark of Magic for quite a while. We've seen borderless cards as well. Borderless full art basics. Again, this is attempting to capture that sense of scale.
Yeah, totally. And also, you know, we like literally thought about the cards and the way they generally look, and how can we make them feel more expansive than they have in previous sets. And you can see from these celestial basic lands that there's like nothing going on around the edge of the card. There's no black border. There's no nothing. So that gives you that like subconscious little goose about like even more about how expansive this set is and how these frontiers of exploration are so open and so vast.
Yeah, reflected again in that borderless, open, vast, expansive treatment here that we've got with the borderless celestial basic lands. But
Landfall,
these
yeah.
aren't of course, these aren't the only special treatments. No, we've got plenty to show you here, and we're going to move on now, Mike, to the Stellar Sites bonus.
I hope that there's more than just Landfall.
One card in particular. These are going to be cards that are available in play and collector boosters. And Mike, we have a pretty powerful land coming back here in a way that people have never seen it before. My friends, feast your eyes upon the latest iteration of Mutavaults,
Let's go.
which, Mike, you can tell us about here.
Hey, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Okay, there's creatures in here. Like, so it kind of harps on the like asteroid comet theory, right? Where life, like microorganisms got stuck in the ice. Hey, West Coast. Microorganisms are from space are stuck in ice. They get frozen, and then when they land on a planet, like maybe that's how life starts, right? Maybe it's not necessarily planet born, but comes from outer space. And this, I mean, like this is Mutavault. This is pretty. This is pretty on point here, where like the origins of life might be spawning from this location, this land. That's sick. I also, this is the solar chart treatment. And I like that it still gets it out of the way of the art, right? Like they were talking about how they want the full frame to kind of show that there's like no edges to the land because it's all space and stuff. And even, you know, they still have to show that this is special one way or another. So it does kind of take up a little bit of space, but it still gets out of the way as soon as possible. I like this treatment. And even the text is like legible just a little bit. If someone says, "Hey, this is Mutavault," you can go like, "Wait, all right, Mutavault. Okay, I get it. All right, sure. You know, you might even see it on first glance, but yeah, Mutavault. I get you. All right, yeah, 2/2 creature that becomes all creature types until the turn. I wonder if that means that like creature types will matter, right? Like it's kind of a weird card to put in because this maybe this will be like a little bit of a faction set, like a kindred set. Like Mutavault's a weird choice if it doesn't matter. So I don't think they haven't specifically said that yet. Maybe it does. Name in the middle, yeah. Name in the middle would be kind of cool. No, they kind of name on the middle left at the very least, yeah. And then the type at the top here too, right? Like it's not Mutavault and then dash like land type. The name is here and then the type is like part of the text. So that would be kind of weird. It'll look a little weird, but I do like that they're experimenting with this because I would like to see more things that don't have the frame at the top, more treatments.
The borderless Stellar sidecar. Tell us about this card and how it came together.
Yeah, so you know, so excited to bring Mutavault and all these Stellar Sites bonus sheet cards, you know, back again. Say, hey, you know, one of my favorite things is when we go and explore a new place, a new plane, tapping into this science fantasy feel, and you can really see that here with Mutavault. And as we reveal more of the bonus sheet cards, they're so powerful, and of course lands just come out and they have their own style and are, you know, incredibly beautiful. And to me personally, you know, I was the game design lead when we created Mutavault, and so this card has a personal touch to me.
Bro, what?
It's personally resonant for you as well. And coming
He's
back
been
to
working on Magic
Sarah,
forever,
Sarah,
dude.
Tell us about this borderless Stellar Sites card, the way that this card has been represented. It's been shown off in a way that we don't, like we've got the name of the card towards the bottom of the text box, towards the bottom of the card in the text box rather than the top. Again, expansive, vast. Talk to us about this card.
Yeah, we just wanted to take everything off the top of the card and like shift it down. And of course the lands make it a little easier because we didn't need to put the mana symbols on the top. But the frame on the sides kind of...
Oh. So maybe it'll be all lands. Okay. It'll be only lands probably?
Transparent map is actually not...
Because they would have to put the mana symbol at the top for like literally everything else.
In the popular consciousness since like the 40s. So again, retro, future, retro.
Unless it was...
But each of these cards also we have that like cool special...
cards with no cost, right? Like none, like literally nothing has a cost.
Each card has a little spaceship that breaks
Maybe.
the frame, so
The
that
scale
you're-
spaceship.
Yeah, the scale spaceships, yeah.
Well, we've got a couple of other versions of this Mutavault to show you here. I'm very, very excited to be unveiling to you. We talked about that retro-futuristic look that some of these cards are going to have. I believe this one here is taken from the bonus sheets. Is that right?
Yeah, so
The one that we're about to show here.
No set symbol either. No set symbol.
Now it's advanced.
Woo!
This one that we're looking at.
Ooh, look at the edge on the text box there. Yeah? It's like, I don't know, like chalky. Yep, Mutavault. Like there's the title of the card. There's the type. No mana symbol. Just art. Art is as much art as they can get. You know. And it's transparent. So they don't. Well, it is a special treatment. So I guess I won't go too far in that. But it is something that usually we only see on Eldrazi. Right, where they kind of like show behind the frame. And I believe that they mentioned the Eldrazi at some point in the intro to Edge of Eternities. They talked about the Eldrazi name drop. But this is sick. This doesn't quite look like a Mutavault per se, but we out here.
Right now, you'll find it's a collector booster exclusive.
Yeah.
So it's a second version of Mutavault, and you can find it in the collector boosters. Yeah.
I like the art on this one, and I like the frame better on the other one.
Travel poster kind of style to it.
Yeah, so this has taken the inspiration from a style of advertising that came about when mass tourism started to become a thing, and it was commissioned. They were ads commissioned by like railway companies or airline companies a little bit later, and they were meant to be really kind of glamorous and aspirational, and to really like give people this sense of this trip that they could take that would be full of wonder and full of excitement and something different and new. And it was really fun to make a whole set of cards that look like this as well. So then we have like the cinematic, like beautifully painted pieces, and then we have these really interesting graphic, like kind of airbrushy, like soft color aspirational pieces as well.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how some of the other lands or other cards that are on this set turn out, especially with styles like these. But my friends, now as we move on to our next,
I want to see man lands. I want to see like lands I animate.
Are going to be very, very excited as a certain type of land comes back.
Ooh.
Standard. Many of you will have played with and against these lands for years and years and years. They're quite old. They're quite powerful. And they are coming back, or 5 of them at least, are coming back in Edge of Eternity's Mike.
Let's go.
Bringing back
Yes, talk to them.
Yeah.
YouTube and Twitch, mainly on Twitch. Shocklands, let's go. Yo, wait, oh my god, there's like a space fight on here. Oh my god, look at that. Wait, they're fighting. Like there's literally a fight going on here. Are these like the blue people? Yeah, because like, wait, log 14778 Grenove, a tropical moon teeming with endemic biota, must see for any inspiring astrobiologists. The Macy's Edge Chronicles. Okay, that'll probably be something on each basic. But what are we seeing here? Like, so, I mean, we see a bunch of ships that look, very similar. So we see like some spindly, maybe organic ships, but definitely like not filigree. They don't have like the filigree going on, but I mean, I guess that is technically filigree, but kind of different. And then I don't know what we're looking at over there. I don't know what these are supposed to be. These are not filigree. Those aren't filigree either. Those look different than even these. Maybe there's like multiple factions on this thing. Either way, cool. We get terrestrial sky battles. Like, look, there's like a giant ship in the background, like taking off. Like, bro, what's going on? Beautiful, yeah. That's a new MTG artist for Breeding Pool. Oh, Constantine Marin. Is that new name? Nice.
The, five of the Shocklands are going to be found in Edge of Eternities. Here we're looking at Breeding Pool. And once again, going to outer space, we knew the time was right to bring these back. And one of the great things is we've made standard a 3-year format. And so really, Shocklands are incredibly powerful and really in so many ways, change and influence the environment.
Ooh. Okay, so this is definitely the white faction over here. Okay, I guess that ship does have that little ball there all the time. So this is the free company against. Let's see if we can go back a second. Hold on.
And really in so many ways,
Okay. So yeah, they're fighting them who are shooting backwards. Okay, so this is like the white-black faction fighting over stuff. I don't know what this land, the land is supposed to necessarily represent. All right, log 17618, Star Shadow, a relic of a culture lost to calamity. Its people were eradicated in a single day, but by what? Ooh, ooh. So we're gonna see like the remains of you know, empires and civilizations just already lost to time in a single day. That's crazy.
And so we were really excited to bring Shocklands back to standard again.
Yeah.
A godless shrine,
These are cards that
true.
I know are near and dear to many, many people's hearts, and they're cards that are taking the form that a form that you've never ever seen before. Obviously, over the years, we've seen Shocklands represented in all sorts of different ways, through all sorts of different lenses.
It's a Sacred Foundry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not actually. You know, this one doesn't really strike me that much. Kiln, known for its blazing forges and ancient lava seeps. The footing may be treacherous, but the metallurgy is grand. I mean, you know, I mean, it definitely looks like metallurgy happens here. I don't know who's fighting. Can't really tell. But they are doing the, like, canyon run. Like the, you know, going down a treacherous trench as you shoot and stuff. So it's good to see Death Star trenches already just, like, on the art. But, it's just so blank. Like, everything else just, like, was just, like, so much life on it. This one's, like, pseudo Mustafar looking.
The Shocklands being brought into this setting, I want to talk to you about some of the challenges that would have been involved. These are cards that are so...
Of course, it's just called Kiln, right? Like, what a name for a planet.
Set with a specific magic setting. What was it like taking these cards that are so closely associated with Ravnica and essentially bringing them to outer space?
I mean, it's the best kind of challenge, really. You know, like, we're all such fans of the game.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Okay. We get a much better look at the ships here. So these ships, the ships that look like this, right? They have like a obviously like a like a rectangular look. Some pretty straight lines, but obviously, you know, some stuff in the back that makes it not just like an actual just brick floating through space. And then even here, just like kind of a front mounted thing. So this is the red. I think this is like red and green fighting, right? Over something. Log 25325. A newborn moon. Aquat still churns with the forces of creation. I'm eager to see what it will become. Yeah, so, you know, new moon popping us up and stuff. But yeah, so we see the red faction here. This is kind of what they look like. And then these bug multi-winged ships. These are definitely like the green bug people, I guess. So, all right, cool. Through the lands, we've seen the type of ships that we'll be seeing, which is awesome.
And the chance to take something and
That's sick.
spin it into a new way.
Sacred Foundry is basic. Yeah, I mean, it just yeah, it just wasn't that flashy.
Difficult thing to tackle.
Yeah, and these cards obviously are bound to see a huge amount of play in standard.
Ooh, watery grave, bro. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. I mean, we've never seen, like, listen, we've seen Watery Grave before, and every other version of a blue-black land, where it's just, like, a shipwreck, basically, right? Like, a shipwreck, a waterful place where a bunch of people died, usually depicted in shipwrecks. And this is the same thing, but it's star shipwrecks. That's sick. That's sick. It is a Watery Grave. And yeah, you got... clearly, this is a blue faction here, right? So this filigree sort of stuff is blue. Okay. And then this is probably the monoliths here. They have this, I mean, monolith-looking purple, black space shrine. All of them look the same. They all have, like, the triangle shape. They don't seem to have, like, different types of ships. Where everyone else seems to have different styles. And that's cool. Hell yeah. We got so much of the art is just going like it is being shown through the lands. I love that.
Older formats as well. It's terrific to see them back again, and I'm very, very excited for people to get their hands.
29089 Lamont, the Cemetery Moon for salvage and secrets could be profitable for those brave enough to plumb its recesses.
But we talked about the fact that this is a set where lands will matter. Jadine, I want to bring you in here. You've been very quiet so far. Sorry about that, mate. But as we bring you in now to talk about some of the mechanical themes of the set. Can you tell us a little bit more about this lands matter thing that's going to run through Edge of Eternities?
Yeah, absolutely. So my colleagues here have been walking us through, and we can go ahead and look at the next card here. My colleagues have been walking us through all the big picture themes of the set, lands matter, sense of scale, and now we're going to get a look at what that means mechanically for the set.
That's cool. You know, in a 5-mana uncommon, Ward 2, giant, like, just infinitely scaling power toughness. Alright, so number of lands, right? Like, so, power toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. That's pretty basic, obviously, but it's an uncommon. But it does inform us that we'll be getting additional lands, right, to do things with. So that means ramp, putting them into play somehow. Obviously, that helps with the chocobo and all that sort of stuff. But, like, yeah, green will be about ramping in the most normal, just put more lands into play sort of way. So less elves, less Llanowar elves that are giving you mana, and more putting lands into play. Beyond the borders of Pinnacle Space, alien worlds of untold wonder awaits. Pinnacle Space, interesting.
So here on Harmonious Grove Strider,
Also, that looks
a little
beautiful.
As you're collecting those cards and playing the Stellar Sight bonus sheet cards and getting them onto the battlefield, this guy's going to get powered up and get to really large power and toughness. Large numbers on the cards was something we looked to represent that sense of scale. You're going to be playing with bigger creatures than ever in Edge of Eternities, and it's really cool.
I can imagine we're going to see, yes, again, that scale represented in cards through big numbers, lands matter, another thing that's going to be important, which we'll come back to some of these themes as well. But as we begin to explore some of the characters in this set, Roy, we're going to introduce ourselves to some of the new characters that will be appearing in Edge of Eternities before very much longer. But tell us a little bit about these characters and the story setting that they're going to be in.
Sure, yeah, I'm happy to. So the story for Edge of Eternities, you guys all know Magic has a story, right? So Magic's had like a continuous long-running story for a long time. The Edge of Eternities story is like probably the most standalone story I've worked on in my time at Magic. We really wanted to let the setting stand on its own world building and characters and potential. And it was also important for us that, like, if maybe you don't know what's going on in the story at large with Jason, Lute, and whoever, you can still come into this story and really enjoy it and not, like, need to know anything going in. Especially, like, maybe you're a sci-fi fan first and foremost and you've just been waiting for us to do a story like this. Now's the time. This is one of the best times to get involved in Magic story that I've seen. I'm also really excited to announce the author for this story is none other than Seth Dickinson, who I know from the fantastic
I think I've heard the name before.
Cormorant novels, but has also done a lot of writing in an IP that maybe has some relevance to what we're talking about today and where we're going with the Edge of Eternity set. It is, we've been talking about scale the whole time. It's certainly the biggest story I've worked on at Magic. It has 11 names.
Seth Dickinson, right? Seth Dickinson, Exordia. Let's see. The Trader, the Monster, Cornot. Science fiction and fantasy is the author. Author of the Trader Bureau Cormorant. Okay. Yeah, space. The Trader Bureau of Cormorant, a neurodivergent accountant. Okay, that's cool. I mean, yeah, they got good people on this. Maybe that's why the story so far is so good.
In episodes, which I guarantee, if you read one, you're going to want to read all of them. It has 5 side stories. It, of course, is going to have the Planeswalker's Guide. And we're also taking the story a little farther than we have in the past. This is the first time that we will be getting it professionally voice recorded by a voice actor. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's by Jesse Inokalia.
I was going to say, Roy, who is it that is you've got to record the story here? Because another very exciting thing.
Yes, professional voice actor Jesse Inokalia recorded all 11 main episodes.
Voice Jesse, buttery smooth. He is saying every single word perfectly, and I love it. And you should 100% be watching. 100% listen to these stories because they are so good. And the guy who they have, the guy that they have reading them is just like absolutely knocking it out the park.
5 side stories. I'm sure his voice was tired by the other end of that. But yeah, I mean, it's just so exciting. Of course, obviously, the Magic Story podcast will be covering it as well with your hosts, Harlan Snyder, Natalie Crater, and then I think they might have some guest on here and there to blast.
Whoever they can find, yeah.
Are
you doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing it. Okay.
And if you're more interested in hearing stories about the design of the set itself, how the cards got made, make sure to tune in to Daily MTG because they're going to have some really cool programming about that.
Yeah.
And one more thing.
Best believe.
I know we got to move on, but as of the end of this panel, the first episode of the Edge of Eternity story will be live. So go listen to the dulcet tones of Desi Inokalia. Make sure you start listening to that first episode while you're in line at Art of Magic to get your card signed, all that.
Perfect. There you go.
It was really, really good.
Some insight into the story, again, from a creative standpoint. Let's now get into talking about the story and the way that it's represented on actual Magic cards. Again, I know people out there are going to want to get their eyes on some of these cards here. Tell us about some of the new faces, some of the new people we're going to meet in Edge of Eternities, right?
Yeah. So we talked about all these like big powers that have come to Sothera in the sort of strange time in this sector's history. The great faiths that are at war over the future of the Super Void at its center. The people we start with in the story are not actually involved in all that. We focus at the beginning of the story on two scoundrels who have had a run of pretty bad luck looking for their cat, and a busted up ship in dire need of new parts.
A classic.
So let's meet our first main character for the story and one of our next preview cards.
Yep, we can bring up here Sammy, ship's engineer. This is one of our one of the.
All right, so main character in the set, but not in the main story thing. Okay, Sammy, ship's engineer, 2 red and a white for a 2/4 legendary creature, human artificer. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, create a tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. Whenever Sammy was down on their luck, they returned to an old comfort, the clicks and clacks of tinkering. All right. Also, their luck, so I believe they're non-binary.
Main characters who's going to be appearing in this Edge of Eternity story here. Jadine, tell us about this card, what it's about, what it's representing, and what it does.
Yeah, Sammy here is pulling double duty for us. They're both one of our key story protagonists and also our red-white signpost for Limited. So the red-white theme in the set is going to be caring about controlling tapped creatures. You'll have to hold on to that for just a little bit longer. We'll get there. But you're going to want to do that, and Sammy will pay you off with some robots.
Sammy pulling double duty from a mechanical standpoint as well.
Yeah,
not only
also narratively pulling double duty, interestingly, because Sammy is on the Sarima, their ship. Sammy is the captain and also the engineer and also the chief con artist for
triple duty. Crew. They've got a lot going on. All right.
So yeah, red-white in this set is going to be about tapped creatures, which that is reasonable, right? Because it's like, what's the number one way to tap a creature, just in general in Magic? Attacking, right? Like, obviously activate abilities, but the most natural, everyone has the ability to do this. You know, this is why it's the draft archetype, attacking. That has the creature tapped, so therefore you don't really want vigilance in this deck, and you'll be able to then make a tapped colorless artifact robot. So that will be interesting. The fact that, like, even the robot's tapped, so it doesn't give you extra defenses, but that means that you do hit even harder next turn. Sammy doesn't even have to be like the tapped one, but you do need to have other things tapped. I like that Sammy is a 2/4, so if Sammy's the one that's able, like, untapped and able to block, Sammy will probably survive. So red-white about tapped creatures.
Well, we'll see more of these themes emerge as well, but again, the red-white signpost uncommon there, as you say, creating tokens, tapping stuff, so that's what Sammy's all about here. We've got another new face for us to meet, also associated with Sammy, one of our characters in this story. It's Tannock, Memorial Ensign, and JD, I understand this is...
All right, this is one of the Kavu. Tannock, Memorial Ensign, 1 red and a green for another 2/4. Legendary creature, Kavu Pilot. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, Tannock deals 1 damage to each opponent. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card. So, serving in the Memorial Navy was nothing like the posters it made it out to be. So, the red faction is called the Memorial Navy. Gotcha. There's no cap on that ability. That does not say once a turn. This guy's your new favorite. Keen Sense goes hard with the hot fetch. Yo, Keen Sense and I mean, other green enchantments that say, like, you know, put a land. the ones that next time you would draw, say land or non-land, and then go get a land. Yeah, Snake Umber. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no cap on this damage. Also, hi Yog. This is like that's sick. That's really really cool. Powerful. Okay, a little strong. You could probably make a whole commander deck out of Tanic right here. He's just an uncommon guy. But he's also a main character, so it would be sick to see him. I do wonder what pilots do in this deck in this setting as well. But yeah, that's cool. And then even if it's just the second time, because as we talked about, green the set's about land, so green will be about putting more lands into play. We're gonna have this trigger at least twice, probably every single one of our turns, right? So we're gonna be able to draw cards on top of it. Wonderful.
Another uncommon signpost, uncommon.
Yeah, Tanic here is our red-green signpost. Landfall is here. Landfall appears a few times in the set. Hear about lands, kind of the red-green theme is all about setting up your mana, picking up lands, doing some damage to your opponents. Pretty classic red-green stuff.
Yep, and
it's classic.
Those three beautiful words that everyone loves to hear. Draw a card. Oh, baby, let's
I got
go.
that pipeline too, the Kavu, right?
Well, tell us. I was going to ask. Tell us about this story.
Yeah,
this card from the story standpoint.
Well, so the thing I really want to call out here. So first of all, Tanic is a Kav. The type line,
Kav.
of course, says Kavu. That is the magic term. But out in the edge, they're called Kav. So
Kavs.
the exciting thing to me about this card is when we meet Tanic, he is the pilot of the Surima, Sammy's first mate, and also like best friend. But you know, this is a character with a whole history and a past in this setting before we ever meet him. And this is actually a part of his life from before the story even starts. In the past, when he was in the Memorial Navy, scouting out the floating vaults of his people where they hid their artifacts before the planet of Kavaron started to crumble. And we're doing this with a couple other legends in the set.
So, multiple things here. So, one, that is why landfall matters, right? I guess the Kav lost their home. Maybe their planet blew up or something. So, like, the Memorial Fleet is maybe, like, trying to find bits and pieces of their planet. So, like, that's why landfall might be more of, like, the Kav thing. It's like you returned with a piece of a memorial piece of your world, and like that's what you get strength from. That's kind of dope. That's like a really really cool aspect, or like kind of like excuse for landfall to matter. Like one of the coolest things about Magic is that every single set that we visit, every single world that we visit, we find new people that engage with the colors of mana in a specific way. Landfall, you know, it's like you get a land, and it comes into play and it does damage and stuff. Landfall first appeared in Zendikar, and it really made sense there because like Zendikar, it's like one of the biggest planes ever, full of mana. The land, like the literal locations on Zendikar are so wacky and wild, and it's full of elemental creatures that are literally birthed from the will of the plane itself to go and do wacky things. You have the whole royal and all that. So like landfall really made sense for Zendikar, right? So now in Edge of Eternities, now that we're in space, if we don't necessarily have elementals walking around, because we're moving beyond planets, right? Like there probably isn't any elementals in Edge of Eternities because there's too many planets to deal with. Like, what does an elemental do when they're on a different planet? Probably, like, just doesn't work. So, how do we make landfall mean something in a space setting? Well, the Kav lost their world, I guess. Like, the Kav, that was the red land that we saw earlier, that kind of looked all kind of Zendikar, where there's like floating bits and pieces. They lose their world, and now they're part of a memorial fleet that's trying to get bits and pieces of their world back, and that like means something to them. That's the landfall, that like if you can get a chunk of your planet and bring it back to your people, like that is a celebration. That's such a brilliant way to do landfall in a world that doesn't have elementals, in a world that doesn't have elves, in a world that doesn't have creatures who are specifically like wielding the forces of nature and just want to see more lands for the sake of more lands. These are people who lost their world and are really happy when they get pieces of it back. That's cinema. That is peak. That is peak magic mechanics and narrative together. This set's so freaking good. This set is so good.
Other like of the story main characters, just depicting them on multiple cards to show them at sort of different moments on their journey, maybe different moments of like color alignment or mechanical space that they're occupying.
Okay, also they're gonna do the Lord of the Rings thing, right? So let's watch it again. Hold on.
Even starts in the past when he was a member of Sammy's first mate and also like best friend, but you know, this is a character with a whole history and a past in this setting before we ever meet him. And this is actually a part of his life from before the story even starts. In the past, when he was a member of the Kav Memorial Navy, scouting out the floating vaults of his people where they hid their artifacts before the planet of Kavaron started to crumble. And we're doing this with a couple other legends in the set, a couple other like of the story main characters, just depicting them on multiple cards to show them at sort of different moments on their journey, maybe different moments of like color alignment or mechanical space that they're occupying.
Okay, so they're doing the Lord of the Rings treatment, right? Where they're going to depict different main characters at different points of their lives, right? So like this is Tanuk from before I guess the story starts, where he's hanging out with Sammy, and he's an ensign, right, of the Memorial Fleet. So the guess like the card that would pair more with Sammy will be, you know, a different color alignment. Maybe Tanuk would be red white in that one. Maybe a future, you know, for the end of the set, Sammy or Tanuk could be completely different colors, or maybe like the same color or something like that. Maybe mono red or whatever. So just like Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings set had 5 different depictions of him, all at different parts of the Lord of the Rings story. They're doing the same thing here. So like, this is really diving into the space opera themes, where we see characters start a certain way and then get some really impactful events that the story is going to show, right? Some climax point, and then by the end of it, they come out with, you know, different understanding, appreciation for life, appreciation for the other sides, blah blah blah. So I think that's sick. I wonder if like there's still gonna be like a through line. You know, is it like, will Tanuk still do land based things, but from a different color perspective? Maybe if like the next Tanuk card is mono red, he doesn't deal damage when a land enters, but maybe impulse draw when a land enters or something like that. Still with that land theme, but it's more about, you know, like just fiery red impulse draw passion. Who knows? But I think that's really, really cool. That means that we're going to see multiples of the same characters. So I hope that we really, really like these characters.
I want to come back to something you said there, because you mentioned that Sammy and Tanuk are zipping around the Edge of Eternities on the
Sarima.
The Sarima. Yeah.
Sarima.
Anything more about that? Maybe you want to get a look at the Sarima.
Let's go.
Brand new type of card, which is debuting in Edge of Eternities. JD, tell us about the spacecraft.
Yeah, a lot to take in here on
Symmetrical.
The Sarima. I'm going to start with the station mechanic. We knew from kind of the beginning of working on Edge of Eternities that we were going to need to represent spaceships. We were going to need to represent a way to travel in space, or it wouldn't be much of a space set.
All right.
So pretty quickly, we realized we wanted spacecraft to be something new, and not just use the vehicle mechanic that we see kind of pretty often in Magic.
Okay.
New that could represent these vehicles and spacecraft with more power that could get you from planet to planet.
Interesting.
So, this is a bit of an evolution on the vehicle mechanic. Station works pretty similarly to crew. They both
'Cause they're not
use
vehicles.
creatures and are using them to turn on the vehicle or the spacecraft. The difference here is that spacecraft is a permanent upgrade. You have a quest and you're paying the creature's power to turn it online. The Sarima has a threshold of 7 to become a creature. If you have a 4-power and a 3-power creature, you can tap them both right now. You can tap one this turn and one next turn. Either way, you'll get to 7, and the Sarima will be online for the rest of the game.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's what I needed to hear. Okay, so yeah, Zillosaurus, right? Yeah, the font keeps making you think of the bugs from Starship Troopers a little bit. Like, there's probably going to be some Starship Troopery aspects in here. I can tell you that the storyline already has some things that remind me of Starship Troopers. But okay, so this is the Sarima, 1 white legendary artifact spacecraft. It's a 5/5, but let's see. So when the Sarima enters, search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay. And it has station. Tap another creature you control. Put charge counters equal to its power on this spacecraft. Station only as a sorcery. It's an artifact creature at 7+. Okay, so it is, yeah, it's definitely different from vehicles. So they're not going to change the rules on how vehicles work, which is totally fine. That's fair. Spacecraft are completely different things. So, legendary artifact, spacecraft. ETB, search for a legendary card. You know, probably the crewmates of the Sarima, right? Tana and Sami. And then station. There's not station X. There's no like station number. It's just the station ability. But the station number that you need to get to is depicted down here. There is reminder text here. And I'm wondering if that's true for every... Because like usually the reminder text is like a permanent, like, hey, the word station means whatever you see here. Everyone with the station ability has this in parentheses, right? They all work the same way. And then, you know, this is an artifact creature at 7+. Is that true for every spacecraft? Is every spacecraft 7+? Because then, like, you know, because it has it here, it's kind of nice that it reminds you twice, I guess. But it's also kind of weird that it reminds you twice. So it is just a 3-mana artifact. Not a vehicle. Just a 3-mana artifact that ETBs and searches for a legendary creature. Then, when... Well, no. Wouldn't it also have the ability to? Other legendary creatures you control have indestructible? Like... Because a vehicle would have this ability. A vehicle would have this ability live, even if it wasn't, like, activated. So is this already like a 3-mana artifact that says other legendary creatures you control have indestructible? Because that's kind of huge. Like that in and of itself is kind of like crazy. I'm sure the required amount will be different based on how powerful the ship is once it's a creature. Yeah, that's why I think they have the reminder bubble down there. It's just kind of also interesting that, but I mean, like, yeah, they'll just change the text. It's not that big a deal. It's just different. It is 7+, so you could go beyond that. Hold on. So let's re-listen to what they're saying here.
Pretty quickly, we realized we wanted spacecraft to be something new and not just use the vehicle mechanic that we see kind of pretty often in Magic sets. We wanted something new that could represent these vehicles and spacecraft with more power that could get you from planet to planet. So you can think of this as a bit of an evolution on the vehicle mechanic. Station works pretty similarly to crew. They both look at the power of your creatures and are using them to turn on the vehicle or the spacecraft. The difference here is that spacecraft is a permanent upgrade. You have a quest and you're going to pay in your creature's power to turn it online.
Incoming raid from Vanquig Cosplay with 6 raiders.
Hey Vanquig, thank you so much for the raid. Sorry, we're gonna... Oh yeah, it's going on. Thank you very much for the raid, friend. Appreciate you. Vanquick Cosplay, good to see you. Raiders, we are checking out Edge of Eternities. We're talking about the spaceships right now, trying to figure out exactly how the station mechanic works.
Threshold of 7 to become a creature, and you're going to pay in your creature's power to turn it online. The Sarima has a threshold of 7 to become a creature. If you have a 4-power and a 3-power creature, you can tap them both right now. You can tap one this turn and one next turn. Either way, you'll get to 7, and the Sarima will be online for the rest of the game. The Sarima itself is a perfect ship for the protagonist. It's going to enter the battlefield, search out Sami, search out Tanook, or maybe your favorite legend that you want to have pilot the Sarima for this game. You're going to use that creature to power this up, and then once you're there, your cast of characters is going to enjoy some plot armor.
So I want to ask a couple of mechanical questions about this. So there
Yeah.
are obviously some similarities to vehicles in the sense that you're tapping creatures to power up this card, but once you've stationed this card to this one specifically to 7, but whatever that number is, it remains active in that way.
You're done.
You're done.
Unless
That's
it somehow loses a counter, which is very rare. This is a creature until your opponent destroys it.
Well, this is my next question. It says that you put charge counters on this. What if you've got another way to put charge counters? Does it have to be through tapping these creatures?
Oh no! If you find more ways to put charge counters on, it
Proliferate, yeah.
Charge counters.
So maybe we'll find some other ways to be putting counters on these spacecraft. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, Mike, something very big, something very important.
Okay, so yeah. So I mean, well, she specifically said that like once this is online, you unlock this ability. Okay, so you'll play the Sarima as a 3-mana artifact, enters to 2 up a legendary creature. And then that's it. That's it. Blank out all of this text here. All of this text doesn't mean anything else. Now you tap 1 creature at a time because it's all sorcery speed, right? They undid the like mistake of vehicles of allowing people to do this at instant speed. So at 1 creature at a time, you're going to tap it and add charge counters to the spacecraft equal to the creature's power. And then once it's at 7 or more counters, now you start listening to the bottom text. It will turn into a 5/5 that has flying, and other tapped legendary creatures you control have indestructible. That is specific. That is something to be known, because that's very, very different from vehicles. Because vehicles are basically enchantments, right? Like, as long as they're on the field, if they have some sort of passive ability, they're on. Usually it doesn't matter until they're a vehicle, until they're a creature. You crew them, and then now it's just like, oh, well, that's why this vehicle has trample, because now it's like a creature. So this ability of indestructible is not active until you tap and add 7 charge counters to the Sarima. So that's very important to know. It makes it very, very different from vehicles.
So there, your cast of characters is going to enjoy some plot armor.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a couple of one in that way. Well, this is a way to put charge counters. So maybe we'll find some other ways to
Proliferate.
put counters on these spacecraft. To talk about here, this is a pretty big announcement actually here. So buckle up for this one.
I think we all heard about this one, yeah?
A rules update that is coming along with the debut.
If you animate this before hitting 7 counters, does it still have flying? Like yeah, if Sidri makes this a 3/3 creature with a half flying, or is it only after it meets that 7 counter requirement? That's very important. That's like Zillosaurus, that's a fantastic question. And that's what we want to ask. So either, like I'll post about it or something, but that is the type of things that the rules definitely need to go over. Because, as I said, vehicles are basically like enchantments. They just usually only matter until the vehicle is crewed. Now, these creatures, I mean, from what they're saying, from what she's saying is that there is nothing that this thing does until it gets to 7 charge counters, All hands on deck, tap the station, absolutely. Man, I can't wait to tap 7 power for a creature to the creature that dies to bitter triumph. I mean, whatever. The thing is, you can tap that creature. You can tap. Hey, listen, your 7 power creature, if you just played it, it has summoning sickness, so you can't, swing with it. But you can still tap it to this ability because the ability is tap. It doesn't say like your creatures get tapped this ability. You can just tap the creature, so you can still get to do something with it. I don't care. Most things die to bitter triumph. The smart thing to do is just kill the 7. Crewing is at sorcery speed anyway, so.
Cards like the
Also high in soul.
Legendary artifact here, this spacecraft. Mike, what can you tell us about this rules update that is coming, that will be affecting legendary spacecraft, legendary vehicles?
Yeah, so for Commander players, I'm sure, are there a few Commander players out in the audience? Yeah.
Just a few?
Just,
All right.
just a couple.
Well, they'll be very interested to learn about what you're about to tell them.
Right. So both with legendary spacecraft that we're introducing here with Edge of Eternities and for legendary vehicles, they are now eligible to be your commander when you're playing Commander. Yeah.
Woo!
With the debut of these cards in Edge of Eternities, you will be able to play at long last the Seeker's Chariot as your
That's
commander.
pretty cool, actually. Esika's Chariot. Wait, hold on. Esika's Chariot as the commander is actually kind of hot. Oh wait, hold on. That's actually pretty sick. I'm trying to think of like legendary vehicles that like we were like, oh god, if only this was our commander, because like Shurikai already exists and is playable as your commander. Esika's Chariot is a really good one. That's actually like pretty dope. That's like definitely a very viable commander. There's 2 pirate ships. Yeah, there's like what, 2? The Jackdaw, right? And on Ixalan, there's a couple pirate ships from Ixalan that are like the Indomitable and things like that. Cool. Pulled every legendary vehicle from your bulk bins. Who knows? To be honest, none of them look that good, but it won't stop people. The Belligerent is okay. Yeah. Like that's, those are fine. Those are fine. And it'll still be funny to say like, hey guys, you don't know what my deck does yet, but once this pirate ship shows up and like just the pirates all jump off the ship and start like messing with you, I think that's pretty cool. Because a lot of those ships are just like, when a pirate does damage, do blah blah blah. So it's nice to just have that ship there from the beginning. Most legendary vehicles are colorless. A few of them have colors. Oh, really? Yeah, and that's fine. I think this is more for like the future thing. Like this is more of a future proofing tactic than it necessarily is a this needed to be done for like correcting past mistakes. I think this is more for the future thing. Shout out to Pleasant Kenobi, okay, who was talking about, hey, this is probably gearing us up for a Star Trek sort of crossover in the future, right? Because like when you think of Universes Beyond sets and Universes Beyond properties where like spaceships are basically a main character all their own, right? A Firefly secret lair would be sick. And now like you could have the Firefly itself and then the crewmates are all just in the deck. You don't have to only have like, 2 crewmates at a time or something like that. And that's really cool. Honestly, Firefly could be the Sarima if they really wanted. That's really cool. Star Trek, I mean, listen, like, don't make me fuck around, cause like I will, like I'll pull out the Star Trek ships. Listen, if there's an Enterprise E card in the future, I don't know what I would do with myself, chat. I think the Enterprise E is one of the sexiest ships of like ever conceived. Ever. I think like, oh my gosh, every single thing about this ship is just sexy. It's perfection. Oh god, so many angles where it looks just So if they're saying that one day I can make this my commander, I would be unstoppable. I would be unhinged with it. Future Enterprise or nothing. Yeah. No, like 100. God damn, it's so fucking good. Yeah, 100%. That secret lair, I would go all out on. I would crash out for sure. That's like then now we can ask for Helium 2 on a reasonable turn. Yeah, right. We don't have to cheat it out with Greasefang forever. Yeah. Just gotta make sure this goes back perfectly. All right, there we go. Yeah. Isolina, my favorite, like it's the sexiest starship ever made. So yeah, I am fully on board with vehicle commanders. Personally, like I don't think it's definitely not to correct any mistakes for the past, but I think it's just gearing us up for the future, right? Which is fine. Like honestly, if someone said that they wanted to rule zero a legendary ship as a commander, I would have never said no anyway. Like, Shurikai's already there. Mechs, like, whatever. Mechs can be legendary creatures. That's fine. Also, before Mishra's Workshop goes from 2K to 4K. Jesus Christ. Glad you have that in your binder. Yeah, that's pretty good. I was looking to see Beerly.
Your cat tokens will be unleashed. Yeah, and we worked with the commander rules committees here, and there was just something that the group really liked about, hey, these legendary now creatures, vehicles, spacecraft, hey, they all have power toughness boxes, right? And so to unify it, your magic card with that power toughness box, let's let you build some new commander decks.
I think people have stopped listening.
Right.
Google legendary vehicle, or the jackdaw. Excellent. Fantastic. I can't wait. Well,
True.
Speaking of legends, that's very exciting news. I know there'll be people out there who will immediately be brewing up new commander decks as a result of this update. But another very exciting piece of news.
The best one's probably Eska's Chariot.
When it comes to one particular legend here, we've teased the fact that there is a certain familiar face coming back in Edge of Eternities. Haven't heard from him for a while, and maybe this is why he's been out in the far reaches of the multiverse here.
Hey, Surge After Dark. Good to see you. Let's go. Big old spicy raid. Thank you very much, Raiders. Thank you for coming on through, friends. Welcome to the Kuro Hitsuki channel. First stream back after way too many trips. But we're back, and we are covering all things Edge of Eternities. Right now, we're halfway through the video. We have like 1.5 speed, but we keep on starting and stopping. We just got past the point where they announced that vehicles can now be commanders, which is fine. That's awesome. It just frees up more space for commanders, and I think in the future we'll see some Star Trek ships or pretty much any spaceship that they want. They'll eliminate the Millennium Falcon. If they ever get that, might as well be a commander. Literally, why not? So yeah, I'm super down for this. And thank you very much, Raiders, for coming on by. I'm Kuro Hitsuki. We cover all things Commander now, especially after Final Fantasy. And yeah, I'm really happy to be back. Thank you very much for joining us. And Serge, really good to see you, friend. Really, really good to see you. I hope that you are having a wonderful stream. Let me shout you out for a quick second. There we go. All right. Now, let's get back into this. Chat, definitely tell me if you what is your favorite part of the panel so far. I doubt that commander vehicles being commanderable is necessarily the highlight, but for me it's definitely just like the narrative of Edge of Eternities has been just like such a cool thing to look at.
Yeah, because coming back in Edge of Eternities in a way, in a fashion road that we have never seen this fella before. Please welcome to this preview panel, Tezzeret, Cruel Captain.
Oh shit. Okay, well hold on now. Hold on. Yes. Sergey, I am also, I keep saying Serge, my bad. Sergey, thank you very much. And yes, I am very I'm sorry that we did not get to say hi in Vegas, but we did now. We got to wave at each other, and that's what matters. And now we have this connection, so I'm really excited for it. So excited for the space theme. Space theme is so beautiful. Now we finally have the returning character, Tezzeret, Cruel Captain. Tezzeret has lost his Esper-ism, the blue, black, white of his former self, which is kind of sad. I'm sad about that, but we'll see what Tezzeret is now. So Tezzeret, Cruel Captain, 3 generic mana for a 4 loyalty. Whenever an artifact you control enters, put a loyalty counter on Tezzeret. That's crazy. Pay 0 to untap target artifact or creature. If it's an artifact creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. All right. -3, search your library for an artifact card with mana value 1 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. All the moxes in the world. Cool. And then you get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 3 +1/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it's not a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot artifact creature. And this is definitely when we want to have that answer of if the spacecraft have the abilities when they're turned into artifact creatures, right? Because as we looked back here with the Serena, and from what they've said, it's just like this stuff doesn't activate until you're at 7 counters, and like even the flying and other stuff. So if Tezzeret comes out and you -7 him,
Identity for Tezzeret.
and you -7 him, can you turn the Serena into a 3/3 that has flying and other creatures, other legendary creatures have indestructible, or is it just a 3/3 robot until you add enough charge counters? That's the real question here. We definitely want that answered. But this Tezzeret looks sick. This Tezzeret does look really, really powerful. That -3. I mean, Soul Ring on turn 1 into land. You just get Tezzeret out to get another Mox. I mean, that's gonna go. Tezzeret's gonna be crazy in CDH. I'm very, very sure. Because there's a lot more than just one or less mana rocks in decks. You could get Soul Ring. You could get multiple different Mox in, right? I actually wonder if there's literally anything else that's worth getting at all. But one or less can give you a lot of different things. Even the 0 is pretty strong too. Untap target artifact or creature. Artifact, you get to tap it for mana again, which is pretty cool. But you can cruise something or station something, and then 0 to untap it so you can station it again. And if it's an artifact creature, it gets even stronger. Loves his artifact creatures. But yeah, it seems his 7 is pretty easy to get. Whenever an artifact enters, put a loyalty counter on Tezzeret. So it's just like, it seems really easy for Tezzeret to get to the 7, but his 7's not the strongest thing I've ever seen. It is strong. Do not get me wrong. It is strong. Clearly. And the fact that you can get to the 7, without having to do some wacky doubling season stuff. You could just play Tezzeret and just go to combat. This is like if Tezzeret's in your deck, go to combat. A Thopter enters play because you have Loyal Apprentice, and then boom, Tezzeret's already just getting up to 5. Just do 2 more things, and now Tezzeret's alting. Because it's so easy to get enough counters on Tezzeret, it does make sense that the emblem isn't necessarily the most back-breaking thing, because if you don't have any artifacts, or if you have artifacts that you don't want to turn into a creature, then you still have to turn into a creature, or you just kind of don't do anything. So yeah, Tezzeret Cruel Captain is a really good tutor tool. That's for early game, but for late game, he's still just a tutor guy. He's still just a tutor effect. I don't really see him as your game-ending spell here with the -7. Finds Candelabra of Tanos, yes. Well, I don't like the aesthetic. This Tez is a hell of a card. The Spider-Man, there may be additional robot synergies. That's true. Tezzeret's lack of color makes me wonder if he's pretty much a machine at this point, like Karn. He tried to get a new body during Mom, but failed. So I wonder if he found a new way. Well, he did get a new body. That's the interesting thing about his deal with the Phyrexians, is that, he did... Jin Gitaxis did completely give him a new body. It wasn't a botched effort. Jin Gitaxis didn't try to kill him while he was transferring his body over. Jin Gitaxis and the Phyrexians kept their end of the bargain, and then after they completed the thing, they tried to ensnare Tezzeret into more of their schemes. But they did give him a Darksteel body. That's why has the Darksteel blight ink moths on him. It sucks that he's not showing his indestructibility at all. That part is kind of unfortunate, but yeah, I do wonder if his lack of color is because there's 2 things that lack of color means in Magic. He succeeded, yeah, completely, yeah. Jin did the job correctly. He just tried to turn the Darksteel body into a Blightsteel. Right, until Blightsteel. Right. So there's 2 things that colorless means in Magic, right? It either means you are no colors, like the Eldrazi, right? The Eldrazi are colorless. The colors of Magic do not mean anything to them, right? They are beyond the like what people who wield colors can understand, right? And then colorless could also mean that you are all 5 colors, right? Karn created a plane. Karn used to be a god tier planeswalker that was able to make a world. The world didn't have like life in it, but like it constructed golems and everything like that. Karn is a, in my opinion, a 5-color planeswalker without necessarily having like all 5 pips in his construction. Like, yes, he's an artificial creation, etc., but like his knowledge and understanding of the colors of Magic through being an artificial creation, next to the greatest mages in the multiverse, etc., his understanding of colors, it transcends a lot of boundaries. Kind of the same with Ugin. Ugin isn't like colorless, he's beyond colors. He's past that point. And he's reached that Zen level, that Zenkai boost where he's just doesn't need to deal with casting a fireball because he has ghost fire, right? Like he's just beyond it. And I feel that Tezzeret, we have to see his actual actions and to see what his goals and vibes are when we actually see him in action. But he's either beyond colors or he is just a heartless machine. I do hope that he's just more beyond colors than heartless machine, because one's literally more fun to read about, obviously. One's a funner character than the other. But we'll see. Indestructible on the Planeswalker would be a funny bit of flavor text. Well, freaking Gideon. But always a creature or something. I agree. It would be weird. It wouldn't like mean anything, but yeah. His ultimate would have to be even less powerful. But again, his ultimate's not even that powerful. Also, you do have to put counters on an artifact that you control, right? So if a board wipe happens and like you only have a Soul Ring left or something, you do have to animate that Soul Ring. It's not up to 1, it is on 1. Yeah. Gideon actually does things. Yes, correct.
Artifact matters is another one of the big themes of Edge of Eternities that we haven't touched on very much yet, but it's kind of the science half of science fantasy is really represented by artifacts, and Tezzeret is all about it. The artifacts you play will give him more loyalty, and then he's going to use his abilities to boost your artifacts and help you find new ones.
And again, appearing in mechanically speaking, appearing in a way we haven't seen him before as a colorless planeswalker. But Sarah, also appearing in iterations artistically, creatively that we haven't seen Tezzeret. We've got another treatment to show up here of what Tezzeret looks like. This is an example of the Borderless Triumphant cards here.
Ooh.
Sarah, talk to us about this treatment and how it came together.
Yeah, this is a really fun series.
Magali. Keep cooking. Keep slaying. Magali, keep slaying. Never stop cooking. I think I want to get this card. I think I will. I am so excited for this set. I love Magali so much. I am willing to put real energy towards trying to get this art treatment of this card. It might be the only copy of that Tezzeret I have, but I am, because this is beautiful. This is sweet. This is really, really cool. I like that throne. I don't know what's going on with that throne, but it's sick. This is Borderless Triumphant.
Series of cards. Here's Tezzeret, painted by Magali Villeneuve, who this is her first time painting Tezzeret. She's really excited to depict this character. She's such an incredible artist that graces Magic cards with her work. And this whole series, we use these round graphic flat shapes in the background, which is really fun for the set because it could be a planet or it could be a sun or it could be some kind of star. And there's like your little scale spaceship. But the whole series are these moments of like kind of pause and triumph when someone's exploring a new place. A lot of them are like explorers standing on a mountaintop. It's really like, compared to the scale of all the spaceships flying around and fighting in space, these like focus on characters and focus on like, putting yourself in this story and in this game and feeling like you're the one looking out over this expanse and about to discover something something exciting.
I love that. Okay, yeah. So like, we'll probably get other legendary characters here, right? Who are like, if the solar paladin, what are they called? The free company. If the free company has like a king or something like that, it'll have that treatment, right? Where it's just like this grand spectacle of space battles behind you, but like the king is here. The king is right here, and you will marvel at his greatness. Tezzeret has ships in space and all that stuff behind him, but he's the only one here, the cruel captain known throughout the stars, doing his machinations. Like all of that. It's not ships for scale in terms of how big Tezzeret is. Tezzeret is the thing that you're scaling to, right? Like Tezzeret is the most important part of this art. And actually space and all the people and fighting behind him is taking the back seat. That's beautiful. They're cooking. They're cooking. Oh. It would be real cool if the triumphant art style theme is that white background with a subject in color and detail. I pretty much, right? Probably.
Well, keep an eye out for these borderless triumphant cards.
Blood for the blood god, compassion cubes for the compassion cube throne, yeah. Our companion cubes, yeah.
Right now, I want to move on to our next card here. Each set does have a headliner card, and we're going to show you now the one from Edge of Eternities. It's a huge card in every aspect of the word here. Roy, tell us about this card as we meet for the first time. Sothera, the Super Void.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay, so this is the sun that they were talking about. Okay, so Thera the Super Void. We are in the edge of space. The part of the space that we are in is the Sothera system, where the Monoists have turned the big giant star at the center of the system into a supernova. Or sorry, not a supernova, into a black hole, right? Like they have turned this sun into a black hole. And there are 5 planets, each representing a single mana color, right, in this system. And I think we can identify right here that this is the red one, right? Because they talked about earlier how like the Kavu homeworld kind of got like ripped apart. And we see that this is ripped apart here. So this is probably the red one, right? Maybe this is the blue one or something. Or maybe the black one. But yeah, like this would be the red one here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because this is part of like the celestial lines around it. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. So that's super cool. And then yeah, these are probably like the Monoists and their cult. What is that? That looks like, is that Jace? I don't know what that is. But yeah, that's sick. Okay, let's actually read the card. Sorry, I just started diving into the lore aspect. So Sothera the Super Void, 2 black, legendary enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent chooses a creature they control and exiles it. Wow, okay. At the beginning of your end step, if a player controls no creatures, sacrifice Sothera, then put a creature card exiled with it onto the battlefield under your control with 2 additional +1/+1 counters on it. So this is actually like, obviously this is really strong, but it could also just be like it could be kind of whatever. Like you have to play this strategically, don't just play this on like turn 4 and like a commander game, because, like, hey, turn 4, you play this, cool, like one of your creatures dies, okay, everyone sacrifices a creature. There's probably at least one person there that only had one creature. So now it's all gone. You sacrifice Sothera, the beginning of your end step. And then out of the destroyed creatures, which are only going to be a couple, right? Like probably small dudes, you get 1 back with a +1/+1 counter on it, right? So I'm just saying, don't cast this immediately at turn 4 unless you probably like you want to stack up the amount of things that are on this card, not necessarily just throw it down. But yeah, this is a pretty what's the type of effect? Grave Pact, thank you. This is a pretty grave pacty effect, but your opponents have to exile creatures they control. They choose a creature they control and exile it. So it dodges sacrifice triggers that your opponents might have, which is cool. It dodges, their Grave Pacts, right? It dodges hexproof because they choose their own creature, right? Strong card. You just have to have a creature you control die. Hopefully someone else doesn't have a Sothera because you have to exile their own. That's probably that's one of the reasons why they did the exile. So like two Sotheras don't just like super void at each other to death. But yeah, that's sick. This is really, really cool. And this isn't necessarily a card that goes in every single black deck. I know EDH Rec will have every single black deck have Sothera as like number one brand new card for you to put in your black deck. Literally not every single black deck wants this. If you're trying to steal, if your deck is like Mr. Cereal Girl, you don't want this card eventually, like, you don't want this card exiling all of the things that you want to get just so that you can get one creature back, right? Like, if you're doing a Mr. Cereal Girl deck, it's better to kill multiple creatures and have multiple ways to take multiple things back. You don't want to do Sothera just to get one creature back out of, like, the couple that go in there. Oh god, Jace, he's probably going to show up. Isn't he maybe, like, doing something with the black hole or bring something back out? We're going to see what Jace is up to. I think that he's going to try to use the power of the... Well, we'll get to theories later. But yeah, I think Jace is going to try to use the powers of the Eldrazi. I think that there's an Eldrazi at the core of the black hole or something. And I think that Jace is going to use that newborn Eldrazi to rip apart the Omen Paths. That's my plan. Anyway, that's sick. This is cool. Sothara, super dope. And it doesn't go in every single black deck. Not in every single one of them. But a select few. And, well, it's like the main titular card. Like, it's the headliner card. So it's not going to be easy to get, but it won't be the hardest thing to get either.
I mean, so I was talking about this a little bit earlier on in the panel. The whole set, the planets, the characters, the conflict of Edge of Eternities, all either figuratively or in some cases literally orbits Sothera. Sothera is the super void at the center of this star system. It has been collapsed into this sort of half-dead, almost undead state by the dark sciences of the monoists. Oh man, the art is so cool here too. You can see that like sort of eerie halo it's giving off that you can see in a lot of the art for the set too, in the background or like in the sky or behind, various escapades and heroes and villains. It's just so cool.
So let's talk about jading this card from a mechanical standpoint as well. Here we can see it's a card that rewards you for your creatures dying, but then also will ultimately bring one back bigger, better.
If a player controls no creatures, okay.
What were some of the things that went into designing this card, marrying that gameplay flavor with actual mechanical, the way that was expressed mechanically?
Yeah, so there.
It's also to be known that, like, it's only whenever a creature you control dies, right? So it's like your opponent's creatures, if they die, this is not a ley line of the void, right? Where like anytime your opponent's creatures die or whatever, they just get exiled, right? It only happens when you may have a creature perish that each opponent throws something in. So like your creature is pulling them down into the void with them.
It was probably my favorite card to work on in the entire set because it is top-down black hole. And a black hole is just one of those things that everybody learns about in elementary school and is just kind of in the back of our heads as something really scary and capturing our imagination, or at least mine, for a very long time. So getting the opportunity to represent that in a Magic card was really fun. We settled as the most important element to be captured that you get sucked into a black hole, that it destroys, and that there's this kind of fascinating question at the center of it. What happens once everything is sucked into the black hole and there's nothing else left? And for us, our answer was something comes back out.
Ooh.
In the setting of the,
Well, that's actually, I did want to mention that I've talked a lot about them, the monoists, gravity manipulators, black hole worshippers. they actually believe that at the center of every black hole dwells their messianic figure, who they call the immortal faller.
The Lisan Al Gaib? Is that is Al Gaib in the middle of the super void?
Center of every black hole dwells their messianic figure, who they call the immortal faller. And if you have the correct instruments, you can actually observe him gradually making his way towards the center of the black hole. What happens when he arrives at the center is a closely guarded secret in the monastic orders, but
It gets too close to.
yeah, right. That's probably it.
We've got other aspects
Okay, that was funny. That was pretty funny.
of this card to show up here. Sarah, walk us through some of the different treatments that this headline act, this main marquee card from the set, received.
Yeah, another one of the treatments that we did for it is a Japan showcase.
Ooh. Oh. That's cool. That's an interesting name. That's cool. That's super cool.
It's so fun. The way the text is.
I also like that the set symbol is the black hole, right? Like this really is like the core of everything in this set. And this planet is getting kind of like pulled into it. So maybe that's like the black planet that's kind of like getting pulled in and everything. Cool.
It's treated on this card, the way the border's treated, the foil that it's printed on is all really exciting, really kinetic, has kind of like a different art.
I want to say that they actually showed all the planets from Edge of Eternities like last year.
Style to it. We love making these cards. They're really special moments in the set, and of course we had to do this for Sothera as like, the gravitational center of this whole story and world that we've created.
So this is the Japanese showcase card, but there's also the Singularity Foil Headliner card, which we can bring up now. But I will say that this version, as spectacular
Oh, that's
as it is,
sick.
it doesn't come close.
Yeah.
This static image on a screen doesn't come close.
Ooh,
to
show us the real
what it
one.
looks like, and in real life.
Yeah.
So we've got a great pains here to
Yeah.
represent to you, the faithful audience out there, what this card actually will look like when you get your hands on it, Sarah.
Yeah, so we did.
Show
some
us,
testing
show
with this
us.
Card. We used a new substrate
Ooh,
called Fractal Lens,
wow.
which has this, like,
Okay, that actually looks pretty sick. That looks pretty sick. That looks pretty cool. It is pitch black in the center.
when the
Like
light-
reflectively pitch black. That's really cool. That's sick. I wonder if it's just this that does it. But this is really pretty. Really, really pretty.
So we hit that black hole in the middle with extra black ink, extra treatment, extra coatings, so that really when you're holding it, it feels like it's sucking the light out of the room and into the center of the card. And of course, like we did this really cool special typography on the card. So
Will the back have the...
This comes
No,
out of the
probably
pack
won't even have
at
the
that moment.
instructions on it.
Keep an eye for this one. So once again, all three versions of Sothera the Super Void up on the screen for you to have a look at here. Again, the Singularity Foil Headliner card.
These are cool.
The Japanese
Which one's your favorite? That's the real question. Which one is your favorite? Because so this one like shows like all 5 planets and like just kind of how they revolve around what used to be the sun at the center of their system, like that. And I think that's like really cool, right? You have the monoliths and their grand plan and their grand desires all coming to fruition and pulling down into just whatever the hell that's supposed to be. And then this one, a little bit more intimate with like this planet being pulled into the sun, that's the super void itself. And got some spaceships for scale. I think that one's really cool. But this one, especially with the art treatment on it, is like, I mean, I really like the deep black OLED card in the center. The Japanese one's dope. Cool posters make bad game pieces. The last one looks pretty, but it's a bad card. What, as in, like the fact that it doesn't show the abilities on it or everything? I mean, yeah, sure. This is definitely, like, have what it does if you're playing this anywhere. With the CMC and the card name added. Yeah, I do like, I like the mana value in the center. I like the little symbol that they got. They have a little symbol down here, too. Yeah, I'm like, it makes, oh, I don't like the white border. Ugh. Wait, this white border actually kills it for me. I hate that white border. I cannot stand that. Okay, that takes us out of the running for me. I cannot stand that white border. Like, I like that the smoke is escaping it, but I literally, I don't understand why that's there. Ugh, gross. 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 I hate that. Okay, so yeah, these other two are my options here. I really like the grand plan all coming together. And this in foil will still, like, have, like, you know, the right things in foil. The whole, like, the Krona, the disc, that'll still be, like, in foil and everything. And maybe, like, the Celestial. I think it's probably this one I like the most. But I really like this one the most. Fuck. I don't like it. This was great, but the whiteboard that throws me. Fancy, yeah.
The regular card there on the left. So keep an eye out for this headliner from Edge of Eternities. Very, very excited to see how this one comes out of those boosties. Speaking of boosties, Mike, I want to bring you in here to talk about the product lineup for Edge of Eternities and how people will be able to get their hands on these cards.
Yeah, absolutely. So upcoming here is the product lineup. Of course, we have play boosters and collector boosters, and then to experience.
Alrighty. Okay, let's look at these really fast. And just sorry, I was just looking at the other art that they've released already in this set. Yes, they have shown what the other planets look like in. Yeah, they've shown what the other planets look like. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna put this on the. Well, I'll put that on the screen afterwards. All right, so here. All right, so this is the product lineup, right? We have play boosters, cool. We have collector boosters, cool. We have a pre-release kit, awesome. Bundle, cool. And then 2 commander decks. So only 2 commander decks this time. No special bundle, right? Like no extra foil holographic mega bundle. And only 2 commander decks. And also only 1 pre-release kit, right? So it's not factional where there's like 5 different planets, 5 different pre-release things for you to choose from, which is, I mean, that's fine. Like, literally not every set needs to be like that. Cool. I mean, like, yeah, this is the standard lineup. Standard lineup. Hopefully it will be MSRP. I really like the art on this too. I like that this looks like a spaceship that's kind of coming off frame, but it could also very well be a hair clip. Like that's really good art. Like that's really freaking good. I wonder who this character is. Tezzeret looking grand as always. Bugs, robots. Love it. Yeah. All right. Yeah. This is the whole package here.
Set for the first time, the pre-release and the bundle as well, and then we have 2 commander decks finally. Now we've been looking at a lot of these amazing treatments, and the Stellar Sights bonus sheet cards. You'll find those in 1 in 8 play boosters. They're only in rare and mythic, and then we have the alternate version in the collector booster. Those galaxy foils that we showed off, those will be in the collector booster, and then of course those super high-end Sothera treatments as well. So a lot of awesomeness. That we're doing here with the Edge of Eternities product lineup.
All right, excited to see these on shelves, but I want to zoom in particular on those commander decks you mentioned.
Yeah.
Closer look at
so it is also nice that in play boosters you can still find the special arts.
These commander decks, kicking things off here with our world.
All right. World Shaper, Sacrifice Lands, Grow Back Stronger. Those are the bugs. We haven't seen any of the art of them yet until now. Bug people.
World Shaper deck. So this is the black, red, green, the Jund colors here. Mike, talk to us about this commander deck and what themes from the set that it encapsulates and harnesses.
Yeah, so this is the World Shaper deck. As you mentioned, black, red, green, and we're not going to see it today, but it is helmed by one of the 2 legendary cards you're going to get is a spacecraft, so that is going to play into it. And
okay.
As well as that, it really taps into a lot of those Jund themes, right?
So wait, hold on. Let's.
They're 1 red green, and we're not going to see it today, but it is helmed by one of the 2 legendary cards you're going to get is a spacecraft. So that.
So is it helmed by? Like he said it was helmed by, but then kind of like backed off of it. So is the main commander, the headline commander, going to be a spaceship. I mean, that's cool. I think that's awesome. I think that's like the correct thing to do. So these guys that we are going to see, and also, I guess, unfortunately, taking up most of the screen. I guess they probably had to make them take up most of the screen so people can realize that these are commander decks. You know what I mean? Like, it probably has more to do with conceding to what commander product needs to look like versus the accurate representation. They've been messing with the whole, like, who's the commander. Like, you have a choice between the two commanders ever since Tarkir. Like, Tarkir, and definitely in Final Fantasy as well, like, Tarkir, either of those commanders, either the dragon, the spirit dragon, or the Khans, could have been the commanders easily, right? I guess they're doing the same thing here. So we either get like a sub commander, who's probably like a captain or something, or a giant spaceship.
Is going to play into it, and then as well as that, it really taps into a lot of those Jund themes, right? Sacrificing lands, growing in power as they come back. So it's a really fun deck for anybody who is big into those themes, and of course, you know, playing with an amazing spacecraft, just top notch.
Well, let's have a look at the secondary commander here, Jay, and I'll bring you into talk.
Okay, secondary commander.
Zarel.
All right. Secondary commander, right? Zarel, Genesis Shepherd, 2 black, red, and a green for a 2/5 legendary creature, insect druid. You have flying, and whenever you play lands, 2/5 with flying, you may play lands from your graveyard. Whenever you sacrifice another non-token permanent during your turn, put a +1/+1 counter equal to Zarek's power on up to one other target creature. Okay, so 2 in the Junds, 2/5, Insect Druid with flying. You can play lands from your graveyard. Whenever you sacrifice another non-token permanent during your turn, and only your turn, you put +1/+1 counters equal to Zarel's power on up to one other target creature. So you don't get to put those counters on Zarel, right? So you can't sacrifice something else and then make Zarel bigger, so then the next time you sacrifice something, they get like 4 counters, right? Zarel will always be 2 until you act upon him with something else. Riveteer's colors, that's convenient. Very, very convenient. Very, very convenient. So yeah, you can do all the blitz mechanic stuff. You already have like Golgari insects with Mazarek, self-sacrifice and everything. So I mean, this commander is already like easy bake oven to build in terms of like, yeah, like not hard at all. You know, you probably could build this guy and not put a single brand new card from the set into this deck, and it would still perform incredibly well. There's also no limit on this, right? Whenever you sacrifice another non-token permanent during your turn, put number of +1/+1 encounters equal to their power, so another target creature. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it. There's no only once a turn anything. It does say non-token permanent, which is a very good thing, right? So like you can't do the Basking Brood or not the Basking Brood scale. Put counters on that, make a token Eldrazi, sacrifice it, and then do that. It is very, very, very good that it says non-token permanent, because that would be a problem. It's already a problem. There will be infinites to do, but it does make it not just like, you know, just ass easy to do, which is a good thing. Non-token, yep. Still crack a fetch. Yeah, fetch lands, play the land from your graveyard, fetch again. Wonderful, right? Very, very strong. That's how it works. Zarel would double its power every time you crack a treasure, right? Which would be, yeah, a big problem. And that's fine. I mean, this guy's insanely strong. Like, it's such a universal Jund ability that it belabors the point to honestly even think about what to do with the card. You can do everything. It's a crazy card. I do, and it's +1/+1 counters as well. So I do wonder what the spacecraft will do in regards to +1/+1 counters, because it's not like put charge counters in order to make. Although you put +1/+1 counters on another creature so that they can tap and put more charge counters so that the spacecraft turns on sooner. So there's also that as well. That's one way to get charge counters, just make a giant ass creature. A Cursed Marauder go. Another target creature could be anyone's. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, this is pretty good. Pretty strong.
Well, Genesis Shepherd exemplifies what this deck is all about. Looks like an absolute classic Jund card here.
Yeah.
Very classic. Very classic Jund card.
So the deck is about sacrificing lands. Zyrel here is going to let you play those lands again from your graveyard if you're a little nervous about sacrificing all your lands. You have an easy way to get them back into play. And it's going to pay you off for sacrificing anything, not just lands, with some +1/+1 counters for your creature. Really cool, really fun deck.
So keep an eye out for that. That's the World Shaper deck there in the Jund colors. But we've got the other one.
I kind of almost wish it said non-token, non-creature. Like, I wish it just straight up said land. You know what I mean? Like, it's already doing Jund land things. Like, it's already there in that line. Why not just, like, fully commit, right? Like, then the card is less powerful, sure. But, like, it's already really strong. Like, it's already crazy strong. At the very least, if it was land only, it'd be kind of, you know, more specific to what the land deck is trying to do. But, hey, it is what it is.
One as well.
Fast Online, thank you very much for the raid, friend. This is basically the deck Master wants to be. Correct. Yeah, pretty much. Fast Online. Thank you very much for the raid, friend. Good to see you. Hope that you've been doing well. Alright, and we're about to get to the Jeskai Commander. I'm hoping the Jeskai Commander is fun because, I mean, listen, Jund just isn't me. This does not make me go more into Jund, for sure. MC Jeskai, hey, thank you very much for the like, bud. Appreciate you. Good to see you, friend. Alright, let's go over to the Jund guy.
To show you briefly here the Counter Intelligence deck. Now, this is in the Jeskai colors.
Okay, so counter intelligence. We haven't seen the robot faction, and that ship doesn't look like any of the other ships we've seen, right? Like, it doesn't look like the Free Company. It doesn't look like the Kavu. Doesn't look like the Monolith. Doesn't look like whoever the blue people are, right? We haven't seen anything about the blue faction, but their ships have more, you know, the filigree, spindly stuff. This just looks like a, I mean, looks like a Mass Effect ship, to be honest with you. You know, yeah, I don't know what this is supposed to look like, so I do wonder if this is like a separate sort of faction thing. It also doesn't look like the robots from Aether Drift either. Normal summon orbital 7, yeah. Proliferation is in the command zone. Yeah, let's see.
Mike, what are the things?
Blue, red, right. Second favorite color scheme.
That are being shown off as part of this commander deck here. We've got counters, we've got artifacts. What's going on?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Riley. You know, counter intelligence really taps into, you know, one of the things that
come on.
And you're in outer space. Of course, you're going to go to new worlds and find artifacts, and you know, what magical and mystical powers do they have? So we really tap into that a lot here with the counter intelligence deck. That artifact matters theme.
And again, we can have a look at the secondary commander here. The
right, not the ship, but the secondary.
Is a spacecraft. We're not going to get to look at that one today, but the secondary commander is Kilo Apogee Mind here. Now, this is a card.
Kilo Apogee Mind. Blue, red, and white for a 3/3 legendary artifact creature, Robot Artificer. Kilo has haste, and whenever Kilo becomes tapped, proliferate. Both Sculptor and Sculpted. Okay, that's insane. That is kind of messed up. Whenever Kilo becomes tapped, right? So it's not a tap ability. It is simply whenever this creature becomes tapped, you can proliferate. I have already thought of 3 different cards that can make this happen indefinitely. Jeskai is the color of tapping and then untapping, at least as far as the 3 color aspects go. Blue was already that color in the first place, but Jeskai has a lot of tools that just do that. on top of like, you know, charging up. I mean, you can tap to add 3 charge counters to um to crew or to station, and then proliferate to add another counter to the station. That's kind of absolutely crazy. Yeah, manifold is gonna go crazy. Yeah, manifold key is gonna be great. I think that this might be one of the most broken commanders I've ever seen, if I'm being honest with you. I think that this is busted wide open. It also only costs 3. I I think that with even semi proper setup, this is a win the millisecond it comes out commander. Like it could literally just be that type of commander. We'll maybe we'll do a deck build um on a different day, but like just thinking immediately of like Penum's Aura, um what's what you said, the manifold key, the plus haste, why not? Yeah, literally why not? What's the Pentad Prism that has sunburst, and you can just remove a charge counter to add mana of any color. I mean, like, you can do a lot with Kilo just from go. I mean, you could kill people with poison counters the second Kilo comes out, right? Like, you could just do everyone gets a poison counter, and then just with a couple of artifacts, couple of goofy little artifacts on the field, you could just blub, 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 and everyone's just dead. Like, they're just dead. And there's all that instant speed, so, you know, not really able to respond that much. That's pretty crazy. That's crazy. That's literally insane. Well, good thing I got Unstoppable Plan earlier from those packs, because that's gonna go right in this deck. I mean, it's like a better energy commander than Madison Lee in terms of like producing energy. That's messed up. I don't want that. How dare you be better than Madison Lee? Whew, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's crazy. Manifold has been one of your favorites, and while the set isn't a huge priority to me, this card will be very much fun. Hey, it's the secondary commander. So I do wonder what, like, with Kilo looking like this, as literally bomb ass insane as this, and then the bug dude looking as insane as he is, what possibly could the spaceships be? Like, what can the starships do that's more attractive than this? Like, obviously Kilo was gonna turn every ship on in the galaxy, but like, damn, how could that ship outdo this? Oh boy. Maybe it just like uses charge counters to like do different, like maybe it's just a ship with a bunch of different guns and abilities, and it uses charge counters in order to do them all. Maybe that's what space stations would do. Space stations having multiple abilities using charge counters would be sick. That would be cool. Oh, that would be sick. Yes, Kilo and the Bug Dude, my favorite weekday morning radio duo. True. Trying to crew a Death Star. I mean, it might just be a Death Star, shit, or at least a centerfold station.
That will reward you for playing with counters. Counter intelligence, after all, is the name of the deck. Jadine, we talked about the fact that there are ways to get.
There's so many infinites.
Kilo is going to help us station our spacecraft.
Yeah, absolutely. Kilo is one of those ways. You can imagine.
There's so many infinites that this thing can do.
Proliferate trigger, get your counters for your spacecraft charged up, maybe charge something else up. A lot of options here.
So these are the
That's crazy.
that you'll be able to snag as part of the Edge of Eternity's product lineup here. There are a couple of other short announcements I want to share with you when it comes to the Edge of Eternity's release here.
All right, what else we got?
We've got some new great ways for you to play with this set and beyond. Starting with Edge of Eternities, we'll be launching more specialized commander events at participating WPN game stores. These will be new ways to play, new ways to earn special promo cards as well. You may be familiar with events previously called Commander Party promos. Commander Party promo cards can be earned at eligible Commander Play events, starting with Edge of Eternities. You can score your sweet promos regardless of your preferred way to play Commander. So you'll be able to get your hands on cards that way. But
I,
when you
I
talk about
hope that means that there's
the
just
Commander
more of those
Box
promos
League,
too.
I want to talk about this. Some may recognise the Commander Box League format from these events here, being at MagicCon, but these are being officially brought to in-store play. So, Commander Box Leagues will run.
Gonna have to let people get more boxes though. And the boxes, please don't be that expensive.
You build a 60-card commander deck out of the contents of a play booster box, and then you play games with it throughout the week. That's coming to in-store play with Edge of Eternities and beyond, so very exciting.
Oh.
But the other thing that I want to talk to you about is the two-headed giant Commander Knight. This is the perfect way to introduce someone to Magic. It's a perfect on-ramp for a friend or an enemy or someone about whom you feel largely ambivalent.
I don't know about perfect.
Magic. Great way to introduce people to the game using the two-headed giant commander format 2v2. And these will be held as monthly casual commander events. So
Sure.
Multiplayer and
Sure.
so
Yeah.
more details
That's fine.
In an article at magic.gg for you to read about some of these new ways to play with Edge of Eternities and the other sets that are going to come after that as well in store. Very excited to see these ones rolled out in stores everywhere. Anyway,
Coolio.
that wraps up our Edge of Eternities portion of the preview panel. We've got plenty more stuff to show you, however, and I know that many of you here assembled are going to be very, very excited for what comes next, because some of you may remember at MagicCon Chicago, we teased an exciting close to 2025 when we talked about Magic the Gathering, The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
If you are as excited for this set as we are, and it sounds like there are some people who are very much looking forward to it, we've got something very.
When does it come? End of the year? Yeah. It's after Spider-Man.
Airbender. Turn your eyes to the screen and have a look at this video. Check it out.
Embarrassing. I would have never made that mistake. Ooh. Okay, look at that. All right, well, one, that time lapse was sweet. All right, so we have Avatar Aang on the front, red, green, white, and blue. 4 colors, that makes sense, because that is who Aang is, right? Aang just doesn't have a shred of black in them, right? Human Avatar Ally. Now that's wild. Ally, interesting. Ally is a card type that they've kind of just like thrown around. Allies are from Zendikar. They help other allies typically, but when we went back to Zendikar the last time, they completely dropped the ally thing and went for the party mechanic. I do wonder what ally is supposed to mean. I think that maybe there is during the set, you either have like the Fire Nation, which is just not allies, and then like everyone else that fights against the Fire Nation is an ally. There will, and even the backside has Avatar Ally, right? Like he stops being a human and is merely just an Avatar Ally, that means that ally is gonna mean something, like ally will matter. So anyway, 4 mana, 4/4, human Avatar Ally, flying, firebending 2. Whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, draw a card. Then, if you've done all 4 this turn, transform Avatar Aang. It's easy to do nothing. It's hard to forgive. And then you transform Aang into Aang, Master of Elements, a 6/6 with flying. Spells you cast cost Wooburg, less to cast. At the beginning of each upkeep, so your upkeep, your opponent's upkeep, the next opponent's upkeep, everyone's upkeep, you may transform Aang, Master of Elements. If you do, you gain 4 life, draw 4 cards, put 4 +1/+1 counters on him, and he deals 4 damage to each opponent. Huge. Okay, so basically, like, Avatar Aang is already, like, kicking ass as a 4/4 by himself, right? And then if you do whatever these bending things are, you are able to flip him. And that's also, you do that whenever, right? Like, it doesn't say until at the end of the turn or at the end of your beginning of your upkeep. If you've water bent, earth bent, fire bent, or air bent this turn, flip him. It's like, whatever these bending things mean, whatever it means, as soon as you do them, you can flip Avatar Aang. So there is, like, you can do this quickly to like throw people off based on what you do want to do this in response to. You can go the blocks, right? And then water bend, earth bend, fire bend, or air bend. And then like do that fourth one, and then now you're flipped, and now he's a 6/6. And then at the beginning of each upkeep, you may go back to normal, calm down, but you come back even stronger than ever as an 8/8. What water bend, earth bend, fire bend, or air bend mean, I don't know, especially since we clearly see that Aang has fire bending too. Because at first one would think that, like, water bend is like draw 4 cards or maybe gain 4 life, right? Earth bend is put a counter on a creature. Fire bend is to deal damage to a player. Air bend, either, if air bending is white, drawing like an additional card or gaining life, whichever one. I think water bend and air bend could either be gaining life or drawing cards, either one, right? Because they both do that thing. Blue mainly does the draw, white mainly does the gain life. It would be weird if they did the opposite, but maybe. And then, so if whenever you water bend, draw a card, put a counter on something, deal damage, and gain life, you get to draw a card, which is strange. And then if you've done all 4, transform. But then what does fire bending 2 mean? Right? Like, the fact that there's fire bending 2 mean that there's some sort of value. Does that mean, like, what, Aang ETBs and deals 2 damage? Because that doesn't really... Maybe. That's kind of... It would be weird to have a mechanic that just says ETB deal 2 damage. Or even ETB deal damage, because then you would kind of evergreen every card in existence that's ever ETB'd and dealt damage to firebending, which is... That's a stretch, to say the least. Or even, like, ETB draw a card. Like, that would still be crazy. Like, that would be wild. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I have no idea what these things could be. We can glean from the back of the card what they might mean. But firebending 2 makes everything, like, kind of, who knows. But I think these are sweet. This is a sweet card. Very, very cool. And again, the ally part means something. The fact that he stays an ally on both ends means that ally is a specific mechanic in the set that matters. And I find that very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Well,
November 21st.
All the Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh, look at that art.
What can you tell us about Avatar Aang and the iteration of this card?
Yeah, working on an Aang card for Magic is one of those things that if you told me I would have got to do that 10 years ago, I would have never believed you.
The back is cracked as hell.
This is a particularly cryptic
pretty
card
good.
for us to lead off on mechanically.
It's pretty
So
good.
I hope you enjoy speculating until we're ready to share more. But we can see that fire bending, water bending, earth bending, and air bending are all going to be in the set. Don't know what those mean yet, but if you do them, Aang is going to power up and transform. Very cool. Can't wait for everybody to see more.
Sarah, can you tell us a little bit more about this card from an artistic standpoint and how it came together?
Yeah, I mean, look at how beautiful it is. We had this incredible chance to collaborate with one of the original show creators, Brian Konietzko, and just such a treat to get
That's
this
beautiful.
work in the set. And in a moment like this, we're not getting in his way. We just let him cook, and he
Let him
gives
cook.
us his beauty.
Well, this is a huge moment, of course. This card is just the first, a little teaser, a little taste of what's to come with Magic the Gathering Avatar: The Last Airbender. Mark your calendars for the first look coming on August the 12th on Twitch and YouTube. If you're attending San Diego
August 12th.
Comic-Con,
August
give it a
12th,
hand
San
on a
Diego
special promo
Comic-Con.
card as well. But make sure you are around for
August
that official
12th.
first look. August the 12th, coming up not too far away.
Oh God, that's so close.
We can't wait.
There's like
The other
another
thing we can't
set
wait
going
for,
on.
For some of the older school fans of
At
Magic the Gathering,
SDCC, I'm not gonna
I'm
be
very
there.
excited to tell you
I ain't gonna be
about
there.
what is coming up.
Pair with Joe the Archmage Eternal to build Omniscience through a Warburg discount is close to that already. Yeah, exactly. Like literally, Warburg discount is already what 5 off of an Omniscience. You're already doing so much. I hope that there's less combine Aang with Joda and just let Aang be like its own thing. Like it's Magic. I'm not saying like like anyone's wrong to do whatever. I just hope that like I want Aang to stand on his own and like kick ass by himself. But I also really wonder what fire bending, air bending, earth bending, like, is okay. What if, like, if you spend an additional mana, the spell deals 2 damage, right? Like, I'm trying to maybe the answer is more in the spell casting part, right? Like maybe the spell casting part is less about making the spell free, but making, like, say Zinnia, right? Like, you know how Zinnia is all your creatures have offspring 2, and then you can do things to make like that, you know, that 2 cost free. Semblance, Anvil, just reducing the cost of spells, etc. You can make that 2-part free. What if it's like kicker? What if airbending, earthbending, firebending, waterbending are like kicker? Where like if you pay an additional mana of those colors, you are now like waterbending, firebending, etc. I'm not closing out Black Heroes. We're still going. What if the bending is paying additional mana, so then on Aang Master of Elements, like it's paying for that part, so you're always bending, you know? Like maybe it's that? Maybe perhaps maybe that? I don't know. We don't know.
That's the last airbender. Make way. For 20, pleased to
Oh, yeah.
hear that we are going back next year to.
Someone's saying that bending was casting a spell of the color. It could be casting the spell of the color. That would be cool. The only issue with that is that he has fire bending too, right? Like fire bending has a value. So is it like domain but for spells on the stack, maybe? Cast 2 red spells? Oh. Or a spell with 2 red pips. Meh? But then what does it do? I guess, right? Yeah, Cassie, hey, there we go. Hey, Rune Dogs, thank you very much for the big old spicy raid. We love it. We love to hear it. We love to see it. I gotta be on the Rune Dogs show. That's one of the next goals. It's one of the next goals for the channel. We gotta be on Rune Dogs. We out here. We out here. Yay. How you doing, buds? We just looked at the Aang cards. I think it's the last previews for the panel. We're almost done with the panel. Technically like 18 more minutes. And then we'll go to bed after that. But yeah, we're gonna finish looking at this. We're all trying to figure out like what the bendings could be, and then like what fire bend and then bending. Yeah. Who knows? I do like the red pips part. Or even just like any spell by using like red mana. Like maybe it's like sunburst in a way, where it's like the mana that you put into it is what matters. But then again, firebending too. I don't know, but I'm excited.
Magic the Gathering, we can't wait. The other thing we can't wait for
And then
some of the
we
old school
see
fans
next
of
year,
Magic the Gathering,
next
I'm
year.
very excited to tell you about what is coming up in 2026. Because for the first set that will be released that year, on the 23rd of January in 2026,
No worries, codes.
we are returning to an old and beloved plane, my friends. I know you'll be very, very pleased to hear that we are going back next year to Lorwyn.
Woo!
Lorwyn Eclipse, the first set for 2026. As I say, release date January 23rd.
Giger Elisa, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it.
Lauren
Lauren Eclipse, we're down for it. 2006, 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Lorwyn Eclipse, we are back
First
to
month,
land
end of the first month of
day
the year.
and night, right? And we're really tapping into that dual aspect part that we saw with Lorwyn and then Shadowmoor as well. And so, you know, we're really inspired here by the whimsical.
Eclipse seems to reference Shadowmoor, yeah.
And bringing that all together with Lorwyn
Well, the
Eclipse,
both,
and of
like,
course, revisiting those themes.
both of them
that
together.
made the set, you know, so fun to play with and has left us with so many iconic cards. It is really exciting. And of course, as we're going to see, we are going to show off a piece of art. It's just so visually stunning. It really,
Because the lore of Lorwyn and Shadowmoor is that like there's this the Great Aurora, right? There's this Great Aurora that travels throughout the plane, and on one side you have Lorwyn when it's brighter and happier, and then on the other side when it's all darker and twisted. And I don't think that the end of the Lorwyn, or I guess should I say Shadowmoor story, had that end, right? Like I don't think that that ended. I don't believe that the Great Aurora ever stopped existing. Maybe it was stabilized, like maybe it's no longer roving throughout the world, but I don't believe that it stopped. So it's still there. So I guess like the Eclipse thing, I mean, Eclipse could either be a reference to the Shadowmoor-ism, or there's something even bigger going on with, like, you know, the moon, right? Like the actual moon and sun. Imagine Lorwyn still being bright, but like covered by an eclipse, which is a weird Twilight Zone, you know?
it really.
And even the Shadowmoor side at least had like the sun. It still had, yeah, it still had the sun, still had the moon. Even that being an eclipse would be even darker.
It is just so exciting to be back.
It has a really iconic feel. The
Growing shadow, yeah.
Of Lorwyn is something that's lived a very, very long time. Never mind the powerful cards that has come from it as well, Mike. So, Sarah, as we throw up these two pieces of art that we can look at here, can you talk to us again from a higher level? What was Lorwyn Eclipse all about from an artistic side?
Yeah, so it's a beautiful painting by Evan Fong. Here's a class.
Yeah.
Classic Lorwyn elf, right? We have the antlers that we know, but they're living in this more interesting kind of space in this set, or newer space for them. They're less judgmental, maybe a little less haughty. You know, we're excited to show them in this new way.
And we've got another piece here to show you. This is by the inestimable Mark
okay.
Poole. Art by Mark Poole. Sarah, another stunning piece here showing off this beloved plane.
Yeah, this is showing you in this set how Lorwyn and Shadowmoor are kind of present much more closely to each other, and what is that going to mean? How is that going to wreak havoc? How is that going to create these, like, magical moments?
Okay, so yeah. The Aurora is still present. We don't know if this, you know, it's like moving right now, but yeah, like there is clearly a split still within just the dark and light versions of this world. And that's spooky scary. You know, that's spooky scary. Hope they're all right. But yeah, no, so it's still here. It's still very clearly still here. Ready to be the first image of the set? Absolutely.
Shadowmoor and Lorwyn kind of combining and creating this like twilight space in between. I didn't say Twilight Zone. Twilight space in between.
Sort of a Twilight Zone.
Twilight. I was trying to avoid it. It's a beautiful piece of work by Mark Poole, and we can't wait to show you the rest of the art that was created.
The Twilight space here is pretty small, right? Like it's literally the most edgiest of borders. No one could like, you know, like just be there. It's clear jump over. I don't know.
We had so much fun going back to Lorwyn.
Yep, keep an eye out for that. That's coming up later on, of course, when we're ready to show
Still
you
beautiful,
cards.
by the way.
Eclipse, I'm sure you'll be very
Don't want to
excited
take that
too.
part away.
We've got another set to announce here very briefly. We're going to have to start whizzing through stuff because we've still got a lot to cover here. Very quickly, you'll understand why we're not going to talk about this set too much more here. We've got the name to share with you and not much more because it's a secret. As we head into 2026, we will be going back to another plane that we've been to before. My friends, next year,
What do we got?
we'll be heading back to Strixhaven.
Ooh.
the secrets.
Ooh, the secrets of Strixhaven.
So, again, just a little teaser. We don't have too much.
So hey, take that, all the fans who keep saying that there's gonna be a Harry Potter secret lair. Nah, not only will it not be as Harry Potter universes beyond, because we're doubling down on Strixhaven itself. I'm perfectly okay with
I
that.
don't want to tell you about that just yet, but I know many people will be very, very happy to see us go back to Strixhaven and discover some of its secrets.
Secrets.
Roy, I turn to you now to talk to us about something else that's
I mean, like, the whole campus got like redone by the five Goonies, the five pesky kids. They think Quintorius is dead, but everyone's been traveling throughout the multiverse, so I do wonder what's going to get them all back together to discover more things. It might be like another Harry Potter type thing with like Vagavoth trying to like invade the school or something. I don't know.
coming up. Very, very exciting. Looking forward to this a huge amount. What can you tell us about Magic the Gathering collaborating with Dark Horse Comics?
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about that.
Oh, and just remember that means that that's the five faction set, right? Like every year there's like at least one set that has like five factions, because that's just what they do. So yeah, we start the year with all five factions, which is dope.
That, yeah. So for those of you who haven't
Correct,
heard,
Chodes.
Magic is partnering up with Dark Horse Comics of.
Remember this. Thank you very much for the raid.
Gathering collaborating with Dark.
Thank you very much for the raid, Ream of the Beast. Appreciate it. Welcome. We're wrapping up, looking at the end of this video, although it looks like there's quite a bit left. We're going over, I think, the comics now, right?
Looking forward to this a huge amount. What can you tell us about Magic the Gathering collaborating with Dark Horse Comics?
Oh, I'm so excited to talk
I like
about
Dark
that.
Horse Comics.
Yeah,
I like
so
Dark Horse
for those of you who
Comics.
haven't heard, Magic is partnering up with Dark Horse Comics of.
I've liked Dark Horse Comics way back when they used to do the Star Wars comics books. Oh my god, that was awesome. Star Wars Republic was my favorite comic book series, and hey, now they're working with Lottie. Nice.
Many comics I love.
Really,
A lot of
see which one you pick.
Yeah, exactly. And we're doing a series that we're calling Untold Stories, which the idea is, Magic has had this long and continuous story over much of its history, but there are gaps in canon where we never got to tell the story from that you can see on the cards brought to fiction or comics or video or anything like that. And Dark Horse, like the people we've been working with, they are huge Magic fans, so they were super excited to bring some of those stories to life in comic book form. And I think
Nice.
people are going to be really
Hellboy,
excited about
yeah.
the first story that we're doing. It is. Can we get some of those covers on screen? Yeah, it's.
Ooh. Ooh. All right, so Elspeth's time on Theros, I hopefully that means that these will be canon stories, right? Like this will be the canon looks at Elspeth in her time on Theros. Look, she got the Shadow Spear and everything. This is, kind of going back in time and telling done stories, but it was definitely one of the stories that was like depicted in a trailer, but could always be done a little bit way better. Elspeth's time in hell, yeah, basically. Hellboy, but Elspeth. All right, have a good night, Rima. Appreciate you.
Theros Beyond Death. We're doing Elspeth's journey out of the underworld, her escape from death. It's issue 1.
So Cloithus will be in here, right? So that means like Cloithus and the other green white planeswalker will show up, right?
So it's currently available for pre-order. You can put in those orders at your local comic book shop, and it will be available in time for Atlanta. So
that's Heliod. That's Daxos.
you'll be able to, bring
That looks. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Everything about that, man. That's hot.
your copies, get them signed here. It's written.
It's bloody. There's blood here. They are showing blood in this. A little bit of viscera too. Damn.
Some real heavyweights too. Dan Waters.
Also, like this art, right? Like pulled directly from the card and everything too.
It's illustrated by Owen Gianni, colored by Hillary Jenkins, and lettered by Clayton Cowles. Here.
Yo, Ashiok's finger is looking gnarly, bro. They looking gangly. They looking gangly. And yeah, this is when, because you see the chains here, so this is when Elspeth is in hell. That's beautiful ass Yall card though. Those nails are like scaring me. They need to get their nails did. My lord.
That we're looking at for this comic, here are the inked versions. Obviously, these are going to be colored and lettered.
Cloithus. Cloithus. Damn, look at those. Look at that line art. Look at those. Look at that hair, brother. They need to make those thighs a little thicker. But that looks great.
And, you know, really
love this.
In the final version, but you can get a sense from just how the illustrations are going, how exciting this is, and like how, you know, I just can't wait. We do have one more reveal, actually, if I may. Can we get the issue 2 cover on screen? Hell yeah. So here.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, yeah. See, we already have like chapter 2. So we got Elspeth, Heliod, Erebos, and Calyx. And they're really introducing everyone really early in chapter 2. Jesus Christ.
Here we have,
okay.
Owen Janney is doing the kind of base version, the standard covers. We are also going to have alternate covers done by Magic artists, like this one here done by our own Magali Villeneuve, and the issue 3 cover done by our own Kieran Yanner. Yeah, check that out.
Was this Magali?
Issue 3.
Is that Magali there? Like I see it. I can like if I'm just wondering where the name, the artist's name is. I see like that's Magali hair. Right there. If not also in like the wispiness, but like that looks like Magali. It's just
like this one here done by our own Magali Villeneuve.
Okay.
And the issue 3 cover done
hey,
by
Pappy.
our own Kieran Yanner. Yeah, check that out.
That does look sick. They're gonna need to put this on cards. They need to put these on cards.
So make sure to collect those, bring them to Art of Magic, get them signed once they're out. They are not currently available for pre-order, but they will be soon, so stay tuned. Keep your eye on that.
All right, I gotta contact my local comic rep. Have him put these on for me. When Peterson did Bloomborough, I finally got around to buying one of their originals. Nice. Very nice.
Finally, one last thing I want to talk about with the panel here, specifically with UJ Dean and Mike, is a brand new, well, it's slightly, I guess, a new way to draft. This is something that's been...
Oh, this has nothing to do with me.
As you know, 2 big rules changes. The first one is right in the name. You're going to pick 2 cards every time you get past a pack.
Sorry.
Draft is really pop. Draft is an alternative
to this new way to draft. Pick 2 draft.
Pick 2 draft,
so Pick 2 draft is an alternative draft experience. Our normal booster draft is really popular and not going anywhere, but sometimes you want something a little faster to get going, faster to get into the games, and that's where Pick 2 draft shines. So it's draft as you know it with 2 big rule changes. The first one is right in the name. You're going to pick 2 cards every time you get past a pack. So you're going to open a pack of cards, look at them.
They have to change the amount of players then.
Ship them to your neighbor on your left. Picking 2 cards at a time lets you kind of have more certainty in the synergies you'll have access to and let you pick combinations of cards that'll work really well together. The other big rule change is that this is a 4-player pot. With picking 2 cards at a time, you don't need 8 players. You can sit down and play with just 4. And this experience is very much designed with that in mind. It's
Commander, you can't get 8 people to draft.
Isn't that right?
Oh yeah.
We can't get 8 people to draft, so we made up a 4-player draft.
I really love about
It's giving.
Is with it only being 4 players.
It's giving.
Easier to get a draft going, right? You can, Friday night. Your commander
It's giving that draft needs help.
With, a quick pick 2 draft,
and it probably does.
The fact that it is fast, drafting 2 cards, it really makes it a fun and enjoyable experience.
Again, we will underline the fact
so they probably
traditional draft. It is not replacing the 8-player drafts that we've loved for so many years. It is in addition to that, but it is coming to Arena. Pick 2 draft will be available on MTGA. So a lot of exciting development.
I mean, that'll reduce the draft times for Arena. Like, so I wonder, maybe it's like they'll keep on doing normal drafts in stores, with pick 2 draft being an option, right? Like, it's an option to do in stores if you can only get 4 people together because you just take 2 cards, right? That also means that they've been like kind of preparing for doing this for the past while, right? Like every decision that they make is done years ahead of time. So they were probably like planting the seeds for this in the play boosters. Maybe this was like maybe this was the start of the play boosters, right? Like maybe this was the one of the primary goals of the play booster was to, you know, because like, you know, the play boosters have like a different especially versus old boosters, they have different rarity measurements. You know, sometimes there's like 2 rares, 3 rares in the mythic, whatever. It's like there's definitely a lot different. So they've been probably gearing up to do this 4-person draft for the entire time, right? Like the entire ever since play boosters. And now that, you know, they feel people are used to play boosters, now it's time for them to actually implement that 4-person draft thing. I don't know if they think that, like, you know, 4 is the magic number because of Commander, but it is probably just like arena drafts are harder to do when you're trying to wait for that 8th player. So now you can just do it with 4, and even if you're at a card store, you can just do it with 4, or even if you're at home, you could just do it with 4, or if you're done playing Commander, you can do it with 4. I think that's probably more what it's about.
When it comes to the world of limited.
Also, those decks are going to be real strong. Those decks are going to be hype shit. Hype shit.
And pick 2 drafts. So thanks for sharing your perspectives on that. You can actually play. If you
It
want
doesn't
to
help
check out
that draft has gotten so much more expensive in the past few years. I wonder if it'll do
I believe that there will be
draft free for all.
pick 2 draft events held at
Oof, I hope not.
You'll have to check the exact
I hope not.
Magic on Apple will have you sorted there. But as far as I know, there will actually be opportunities to play pick 2 draft this weekend. Or, I mean,
I really hope not,
yourself,
Chodes.
right? Like, you just need booster packs and 3 other people. So, you know, I'm sure.
I hope that they don't do draft free for all like Commander, because, like, I mean, that, you know, that requires a lot of the cards to change from destroy target creature to, like, each opponent sacrifices a creature, right? Like, it has to change. It would have to change more cards to be from target to each, which, you know, it already happens, but there's like a balance between like target and each, and if that happens, that means that there's less powerful cards in standard, like 60 card formats that just want to do 1-on-1. A 2-mana spell that says destroy target creature is what you want to see, and not like a 3-mana spell that says each player, right? That's not really useful there necessarily. But 1 is obviously more useful in like the multiplayer draft. So no, I hope that they don't make it a free-for-all thing, because they would have to change up a lot about what they do in a pack, and that changes how people get cards for standard, etc., etc. So I hope it's not like that. Not saying it's a good idea, but trying to get the EDH players cracking packs. I mean, oh God, gods, I hope not. You know, I keep that for Commander Masters, right? I would prefer that they just keep doing Commander Masters. Give us another Baldur's Gate D&D crossover thing instead, once a year. That's what I would prefer them to do instead of that. I doubt that, because it would hurt every format in Arena, and Arena makes them arguably just as much money as paper. Arguably, yeah.
That is going to do it for our panelists
Okay.
here. Would you
That was
please
it.
there in the audience, put your hands once again together for our 3 panelists here. I'll let you make your way off the stage over here. Once again, our 4 panelists walking us through all of this stuff here. Thank you so much to all of them. But the preview panel isn't.
I recognize this camera. And this tripod. Just saying, just so you know what I look at when I'm watching videos like this. I'm eyeballing. You got that 4K?
Quite over yet. So don't go anywhere just yet, because joining me on the stage is a very, very special guest for one last round of announcements here. This is someone who has played Magic for decades, 30 years.
Decades. 30 years.
And he joins me on stage.
That's 2 years
to
after
share
Magic was
very
born.
Special and exciting news that is coming up in Magic's future. My friends, please welcome to the stage. Put your hands together for the president of Wizards of the Coast. It's John Height, everyone.
The literal president of Wizards of the Coast, okay.
Thank you. John,
Love that shirt.
Las Vegas. We've got a huge crowd in, obviously very excited to be here. How's the MagicCon been for you so far?
This is amazing. Wow. What a
Woo.
crowd. I did check the temperature outside. It's 102. I don't want to pay this air conditioning bill.
At
Man,
Vegas was hot.
hotter than what's going on out there, and that's Magic the Gathering.
Vegas was
It's
too hot.
on fire because of all of you.
John, I'm gonna let you get on with your announcement. I'm gonna head back over here, but mate, the stage is all yours.
It's such an incredible experience for me to be here now. Yes, my journey with Magic started 30 years ago, literally in 1995. I was down in Orange County, and my wife and I, and she's actually here today, Julie. She and I learned how to play Magic together.
Aww.
And we walked into a store in Orange County. And
Where's me and my Magic playing girlfriend?
He sold us some cards, and it's so cool. You know,
Scott Larrabee. I know him.
Today. But he ran tournaments, and Julie and I played together and screwed up the rules. So if you are all some of you are learning Magic today, it's okay. You know, you will get there. It's such an incredible.
Maybe you
game,
can be
and
the
it's brought
president of
our family
Wizards
together.
someday.
And it's an amazing experience for me to be here now and talking to all of you. I
They
had
put
no
that
idea
microphone
30
too
years
close to
ago
his
that
face.
That could be a reality. So, you know, I think what was
Not
amazing
likely?
was,
Well,
Magic then,
You never know.
today,
Give it 30 years.
it's so unique as a game. You know, it blends strategy, it blends storytelling, and just beauty, right? Every card is a little canvas that transports us to fantastic worlds made by, you know, amazing artists and really clever designers. I mean, that reveal that we just had for Edge of Eternities, how crazy is that?
I was pretty
You know,
sick.
a spaceship, right? A spaceship that can go out and find legendary creatures for you and then turn them indestructible. And you match that to the creativity of a team that also, don't forget, last year was giving us all kinds of little field animals that would go to battle with each other, flickering frogs and squirrels.
Also true.
And only Magic can allow you to go to all these different worlds in a system.
And they will
we
play
can all
against each other
create
just fine.
together. So part of why I'm up here, and probably the only reason I'm up here, is to tell you a little bit about what's going to happen next
Nah,
year.
Bloomberg was perfect.
So
You're
it's my
crazy.
pleasure to reveal to you that we're going to have MagicCon in 3 epic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And the team's put together a cool little video to show all of you.
All right,
to
yes.
Tell you where they're going to be. So let's roll the video.
You omen path to an airport? Las Vegas. Amsterdam again. Atlanta. Okay.
Yes, we're coming back to Amsterdam and Vegas, of course, and Atlanta. I just want to thank all of you. You know, this is the gathering, right? This is what makes it such a special game. All of you coming together in events like this. And I want you to know that I am
That video
ever
was-
mindful and grateful that we,
All right.
myself in particular, can be the caretakers of a game that is yours. You make this Magic. It's all of you and the community and you supporting us for all these years that have made this special. So thank you so much. And have a great time at MagicCon.
John, hi everybody. Put your hands together for the president of Wizards of the Coast. That is that for our preview panel. Thank you for being here. We've got plenty more stuff coming at the Manor stage across the weekend. Looking forward to having your company throughout the rest of MagicCon Las Vegas. But for now, that's it from us here. We'll see you back here on the Manor stage before very long. Thank you very much.
Alrighty. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was dope. And we haven't found any, or I think there's been one preview card, or one new card shown. Oh, well, today there was an uncommon blue-black card. Kind of weird that's not here. Weird. Anyway, yeah, this was super mega cool. Glad to, yeah, the rule change for vehicles, different lands, new treatment, other treatment, other treatment, other treatment. Lands are beautiful. Booster box, 2 commander decks, bundle, pre-release. Yeah. I mean, they're doing the most. They are absolutely doing the most with this deck. And with this set. And especially the story chat. I cannot This is I think the reader right here. Yeah, I cannot emphasize enough how cool this story is. It's really, even if you do it on the website, they actually have this like response, pick your own adventure thing. It's actually really, really cool, right? Like, even if you don't want to like listen to it and you want to read it yourself, it's like there's actually like a kind of an interactiveness on it yourself. Then it's on podcast form, and then also they have it on YouTube, which I again highly recommend listening to the dulcet tones on YouTube for sure. But actually, I wanted to. There's one more. There's a preview card that came out today. This is my favorite episode. This is what literally I think this is one of my favorite episodes of Magic I've ever listened to. This guy, Aphariel, Dreaming Acolyte, 1 blue and a black, 2/3, legendary creature, human cleric. When Aphariel enters, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card during your turn. Aphariel has Death Touch, and I think that this is going to be another one of these. This is one of the main characters in this set, so like we're gonna see him. I think just like him at the beginning of the story, and then we'll see him like at the end of the story with like a new color, new abilities, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, this shit is getting good. Very, very good. Very, 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 very good. Super good. Super, super, super good. Literally one of the favorite. I enjoyed listening, and then I went back and read like every part of this thing. Every freaking part. His hands are huge. What the fuck? He's ginormous. What? Hold on, his hands are huge. He could rip her head off. he he's huge. Oh my god, hands for scale, bro. He could just take her head like a basketball. My lord. Yeah, super, super, super good. Please read the story so then I can gush about it. And then go back. Whoop. All right. Chat, that's going to be it for us tonight. Thank you so, so very much. Seems villain. I think after reading the story, it's absolutely one of those things. So Asfariel is part of the monotic people. So like he is like evil because he's part of the like cult, the death cult that like collapsed the sun. But he's having second thoughts because of what happens in the story, and it's like outrageously compelling, right? Like it's not something where it's like, oh, he's having a crisis of faith because like something affected him for once. It's like, no, it was like something really, really heartbreaking. So yeah, please read this. It's so fucking good. It's so or listen to it. Mainly listen to it, because again, they have a professional voice actor doing the story. All right, chat, I'm gonna figure out where to drop you off. Thank you all so much for being here as I return. Never truly left, but I did just not stream enough, and that is what we're gonna fix for now. Is Maul on? Okay. Chat. Where am I gonna bring us? I'm gonna bring us over to someone else doing Magic the Gathering. And again, thank you all so much for the return. I will be on tomorrow, chat. I'm going to be Wubby. Is Wubby on? I will be literally like I am trying to make sure I fully come back and give you what you all watch me for. So I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back the day after. I'll be back this weekend. Like there's gonna be some variety stuff on the weekend because there's so much space going on in this set, and I want to play space games. So there's gonna be a little bit of that for sure. But yeah, we're gonna be doing all the Magic stuff all the time. All right. Oh, you know what? Okay, these people are. You know what? This is a new channel I've never seen before, but they're playing pre-cons, and I think that's cute. I think that's cute. We're gonna raid Hibana Tsumi. Alright? Chat, thank you. I'll see you later today / tomorrow. Love you so very much. Have a wonderful night. And a goodbye.